Well, good evening, everyone. We're going to get this show on the road. We are so excited that you were able to join. And I know we have many others who are going to be popping on throughout this evening's presentations from these wonderful SUS colleges and universities. We have over 10 presentations that are going to be coming your way. So we hope that you're going to be able to tune in to as many of these speakers as possible. This is going to be a fantastic opportunity for you to learn more about these individual schools, their admissions processes, and what makes their institutions unique. We're going to go through tonight's schedule, but I wanted to give you a good idea of how Pinellas County and ScholarCheck are working together. So our organization is partners with Pinellas on this event to be able to bring to you these programs. You'll see our name popping up with other events going on, whether that's in person or virtual, talking about, again, these state university system universities, or whether it's talking about financial aid and scholarships. We are here to assist you. So we're just so excited that you all were able to tune in. Now, for tonight's program, we are going to ask all of you to stay muted. If you do have any questions in general or for the presenters, we ask that you utilize the chat function for this evening. The presenters are taking up a large portion of their evening, and so they may not be able to get to all of you in terms of their questions, but if you do include them in the chat box, please just let us know which institution you're hoping to answer your question. And if they're not able to stay on to answer your question or need to get back to you, we can give them that information following tonight's program. But here is a breakdown of the schedule if you did not see it already. Okay, so we are going to be starting from 4 to 5 with 3 wonderful institutions. So we're looking at Florida A&M, Florida Atlantic University, who we know has had a great run this year with their basketball team, New College of Florida. And then from 5 to 6 p.m., we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to go over to the University of West Florida, University of North Florida, Florida State University, and Florida Polytechnic University. And then to close us out, last but not least, from 6 to 7 p.m., we're going to have the University of Central Florida, Florida Gulf Coast University, and the University of South Florida. If at any point in time you need to step away, please note that we are going to be recording this session. You'll be given a login to be able to access this presentation at any point in time. But now is the time to stay live, to get those questions that you may have answered by these representatives, and to hear kind of the latest and greatest news that they want to be able to share with you regarding their institutions. So do just take a note of what tonight's schedule looks like. Our first presenter is going to be Florida A&M starting at 4:15. So just take note. I'm going to leave this up here, but I know that Justin Blount, who's here for us for FAMU, I am going to actually pass it over to him so he can begin to share his screen so he has time to set up. But I do see a question in the chat box. The University of Florida, unfortunately, was not able to join us tonight. They have a lot of admitted student programs going on, as do all of these admission representatives. So definitely reach out to UF's admissions team if you have questions. But this is going to be your lineup for this specific event. And so without further ado, Justin, I'm going to give it to you to screen share. And if you have any questions, guys, remember, just use that chat box function.
Hello, everyone. My name is Justin. It's so nice to talk to you all today. I am a representative from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And
Justin, I can see your mouth moving, but I cannot hear you. Can everybody else hear Justin?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So like I was saying, I'm from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. We're located here in Tallahassee, Florida. And in just a minute, I'm going to share my screen and start the presentation. And then I'll answer any questions at the end. And I'll try to move quick so I can answer all of your questions. And can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, my computer's going a little slow. All right, so like I said, we are FAMU. We're located in Tallahassee, Florida. And here are some of the reasons why FAMU is an amazing school and that you should choose FAMU to be your school. All right, so coming up, we are actually the #1 public HBCU in the nation. And not only that, but we are ranked 103 overall. So not only are we a top school amongst HBCUs, but we are also a top school in the nation, 103. And there are over 1,400 colleges and schools in the entire nation, meaning that we are in the top 10% of schools in the United States. And we are also ranked number 13 for social mobility. And now what social mobility is that ability to move from a different socioeconomic background. So coming out of FAMU, you're gonna have those higher paying job opportunities, upper education opportunities and things like that to get you into those better fields. We are also have the #2 engineering program in the state of Florida, partnered with FSU. We love STEM here at FAMU, which is why we strive to get marginalized communities involved with STEM as well. And we like to take care of our Rattlers here at FAMU, which is why we are in the top 100 for best undergraduate teaching. Here at FAMU, we have a 14:1 student to teacher ratio. So for every 14 students, we have one teacher or faculty member on campus able to assist you guys at all times. And I know that I mentioned that we are a top school amongst HBCUs and in the nation, but we are also a top school in the Florida State University school systems. We are ranked #6 overall. And then back to that social mobility aspect, we are ranked #3 for social mobility amongst other HBCUs. And I don't know if I mentioned, but an HBCU is a historically Black college or university. All right. And now here are some really cool alumni that have come out of our degree programs here at FAMU. We have Kim Godwin, who is the first African-American woman to ever become the president of a major news network, and she currently works as the president of ABC News Network. And we also have Common, who is a rapper, actor, and philanthropist, and so much more, and he cultivated so many of those talents right here at FAMU. And we also have Keisha Lance Bottoms, who is one of the first African-American women to ever become the mayor of Atlanta, and she currently is serving in the office, or in the White House, excuse me, as the lead correspondent for marginalized communities with President Joe Biden. And we also have John Thompson. Now, John Thompson is cool because he is the lead director for the board of Microsoft. So, Microsoft is one of the biggest companies in the world, and he works very closely with Bill Gates. And we also have Marina Robinson Snowden. Now, Marina Robinson Snowden is so cool is because she is the first African-American woman to ever get a degree in nuclear engineering from MIT. And now you might be wondering, why am I talking about MIT when I'm representing FAMU? Well, before she went to MIT, she got her undergraduate degree right here at FAMU and cultivated her education starting here at FAMU. And that goes back into that social mobility aspect as well, to where she had those opportunities to get into higher education because of her background here at FAMU. And lastly, we have one of my personal favorites, Will Packer. Now, Will Packer is one of my favorites because he is a super producer who has grossed over $1 billion in the box office. And I am a big movie buff. I love film, TV, all of that stuff. So seeing him is just a really cool experience. And a fun fact is that he actually did not study film. He studied engineering. So that shows that our Rattlers are multifaceted and multi-talented people. All right, and here at FAMU, we have 98 degree programs in over 14 colleges and schools. Some that we like to note are our law program, business, which we have a 4+1 MBA program. We also are big into STEM, so we have different engineering programs as well as health sciences. And I want to go over a few of those right now. So like I mentioned, we have the #2 engineering program in the state of Florida, partnered with FSU. And we have degrees going all the way from your bachelor's, master's to your doctorate degrees. And we have those for computer engineering, chemical engineering, civil, electrical, industrial, biomedical, and mechanical. And we also have our degrees in pharmaceutical sciences. Our pharmaceutical sciences program is one of the biggest that we have, and everyone is very excited and loves that program. And another fun fact is that in Tallahassee, if you go to a CVS, Walgreens, wherever you're getting your medicine from, chances are that that pharmacist studied right here on the Hill at FAMU. And we have those degrees all the way from bachelor's to doctorates as well. And then our law studies program is pretty cool as well. We have a 3+3 law program. And so what that is that it's an accelerated program where you do 3 years of your law school, and then it just takes, after that, you do another 3 years, you do your 3 years of your undergrad, and then it just takes another 3 years to get your law degree, so 6 years total. And then our law school is actually located in Orlando, Florida. And then here at FAMU, of course, we honor and respect our armed forces, which is why we have our Navy ROTC and our Army ROTC. And that is a commitment. So once you join the ROTC, you will be enlisting into the military. So that's usually a 4 to 5 year commitment after you graduate. But with that being said, the ROTC usually pays for a lot of your, if not all of your tuition and schooling. And our student life is, second to none. We have one of the most lively campuses in the state of Florida or nationwide, honestly. We have over 100 active student clubs and organizations, including SGA, Student Government Association, and our students love SGA. They campaign so hard, like it's comparable to an actual White House election campaign. And not only that, but we have our sororities and fraternities, and specifically our D9 sororities and fraternities, which is our historically Black sororities and fraternities. We have different volunteer and internship opportunities, campus recreation and intramural sports. We have a bowling alley on campus, as well as gaming rooms and a salon and barbershop. So there's always a lot to do. Football season is a lot of fun. We have things like the Classic and Homecoming, which are always a great time. And of course, we also have our Set Fridays, which is like a big get together in like this place called the Set, which is kind of like a courtyard area. And the students come out and there's like DJs playing music, there's food vendors and people selling clothes and jewelry. So it's always a great time and our students love being active on campus. And then of course, I can't talk about college without talking about athletics. FAMU is a D1 school. We have, baseball, basketball, bowling, cross country, football, track and field, and so much more. And we are in the Southwest Athletic Conference, the SWAC. And I believe our men's football team is ranked #2 right now. And our women's volleyball team are SWAC champions. So that's really cool. And another fun fact for you guys is that we are sponsored by LeBron James as well as Nike. So student housing, we have both traditional and non-traditional housing. Our traditional housing is kind of what you would expect your parents to have lived in when they were in school. So that's going to be like the gender dorms as well as communal bathrooms. And then our non-traditional housing, which is our suite style housing, is going to be you and your roommates having your own bathroom. And you'd still be living with the same gender within your dorms, but the floors are co-ed. And then that picture right there is actually a picture of our freshman dorms. I'll call it FAMU Towers, which are dedicated to our freshmen, and they were recently built in 2018. And that's an example of our non-traditional type housing. We also like to make sure that we take care of our students here, which is why we have our Career Center that gets you connected with over 70,000 alumni who are not just successful, but they are courted by Fortune 500 companies and the finest graduate schools and professionals development in general. So we like to make sure that you guys get different internship opportunities while you're in school here, but not only that, but we want to get you guys job opportunities for after you graduate as well. And we also have the CDAR, which is our Center for Disability Access and Resources, which is basically if you have any type of learning disabilities, physical disabilities, anything like that, we want to make sure that you guys are accommodated on campus, which is where CDAR comes in and make sure that you guys are being taken care of. We also have different international programs. The thing about FAMU is that we like to cultivate a multicultural experience, which is why we have over 60 study abroad locations for you guys to choose from in locations ranging from Africa, China, Brazil, Europe, Costa Rica, South Africa, the Dominican Republic, and more. But not only that, but we have over 70 countries represented right here in Tallahassee, Florida on our campus, meaning that we have students from all over the world coming to be a Rattler on campus at FAMU. And these are our admissions requirements. We want a 3.3 weighted GPA. And in those core academic units, we want 4 years of English, 4 years of mathematics, 3 of natural sciences, 3 of social sciences, 2 foreign languages of the same language. And then we also look at 2 other electives. We want the SAT or ACT test scores. We don't have a preference. And then those are requirements that you see listed below. And then we do super score as well. We want a 500-word essay, 2 letters of recommendation, and then, submitting your high school transcripts or your self-reported, your SAR. And then our deadline to apply is May 1st for the fall, November 1st for the spring, and March 1st for our summer deadline. And there's an application fee of $35 that can be waived if need be by your guidance counselor. And that concludes my presentation, and I will open the floor up to any questions. I'm going to look in the chat. So yeah, just let me know if you guys have any questions.
Thank you so much, Justin. For those that do have questions, pop those in the chat box. We are doing great on timing here. So I am going to have FAU prepare their presentation and share their screen. Meanwhile, again, if you have those questions, please pop those in the chat box for FAMU. We also have the representative for FAU, of course, and New College of Florida in the room if any of you have questions preemptively that you'd like to put in the chat box for either of them.
Any questions for me at all? I believe I forgot to mention the tuition rate. It's about 2,000, a little over 2,000 for in-state a semester, and then about a little over 8,000 for out-of-state. And then housing is about a little over 3,000. And I will also drop my email in the chat if anyone has questions at a later time.
And yes, I see in the chat box here, will all of these presentations be available afterwards? They will. There will be one solid recording of all 3 hours worth of presentations. You'll be able to access that by logging into a system. We will follow up with you all tomorrow with information on how to access this recording.
Okay, I see a question that says, what is the SAT requirement? So for our SAT, we don't look at that big composite score. We look at your individual subscores for each section because we find that it helps students be able to hit that target. So for the SAT, we want you to have a 26 in math, a 27 in reading, and a 27 in writing and language.
Justin, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have the wonderful Haley at FAU get started on her presentation. Justin, if you want to hang back for just 5 minutes to see if any other questions come through the chat box, but we appreciate your time and we know that your schedule is extremely busy right now, so we're very appreciative.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Haley from FAU. Can you all hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
Awesome. Great. So as I said, I'm the representative for FAU. I usually work with the North Florida and Tampa regions. So this is just our little information session that with a lot of the questions that folks usually have about our university. So where is the next one? There we go. All right. So a little bit about FAU. We are considered a mid-sized Florida university, which Florida Public University, which does kind of make me laugh because we do have 25,000 undergraduate students. So it doesn't feel very small when you go. It doesn't feel very mid-sized, but our class size is approximately 22-1. So it does feel comparable to high school class sizes. We do offer over 170 degree programs. That also includes graduate degrees and certificates. And we have a network of over 184,000 living alumni, which is a really useful number to think about for networking, and we'll touch on that a bit later. So some of the stats that we're really proud of is we're considered the #2 best value in Florida. We have really low credit hour prices. We are also a Hispanic serving institution, so at least 25% of our student population considers themselves Hispanic. We are a #12 degree producer for African Americans, and we are #36 for social mobility, which is essentially success regardless of demographics. We do have 10 colleges under the umbrella of Florida Atlantic University. Your college is where you would get your degree in your upper level advising. So if you were an English major like I was, you would probably be in the College of Arts and Letters. If you were a business major, you'd be in the College of Business, a nursing major in the College of Nursing, etc. We also have a graduate college available for students who are interested in post-undergraduate work. We have a College of Medicine for students who want to go on to med school after their undergraduate. And we also have an honors college, which I'll touch on in a moment. So when students come to FAU, we want them to feel successful and we want them to feel supported. So every student is assigned a financial aid officer. This is a person in our financial aid department who they can reach out to directly with questions about scholarships, about funding, about any kind of financial aid. You also have a career counselor who is in your field. Our career center is really good about helping with finding internships, getting you started on writing resumes. They'll look at your mock resumes. There's mock interviews. They have all sorts of resources there. The academic advisor assigned to every student, your first 2 years or so, if you're doing a 4-year program, your academic advisor will be in the university advising services because it's mostly general classes. And then the second half of your degree will be advising within your major. So if you're in the College of Business, you'll have an advisor in the College of Business. The library liaison is my personal favorite. It's kind of like a personal librarian. We have so many resources at FAU at the library. It's huge in person and the database online. So the library liaison is essentially the person who you can reach out to, say, I'm looking for research on this topic for this class, and they'll send it back to you cited correctly, and you can use that for courses. So as I mentioned, we do have some honors opportunities. The important thing to note is that when you apply to FAU, you can apply directly to the Honors College, but you are also assessed for honors opportunities when you apply normally to FAU. So we do have the University Honors Program. This is a program that allows students to take honors level courses for their gen eds in their first 2 years. Some courses also offer an honors in the major opportunity for undergraduates. We also have the Harriet L. Wilkes Honors College. This is an all honors college up in Jupiter, which our main campus is in Boca Raton. Jupiter is about an hour north of there. It's an all honors all the time campus. They have their own faculty. They do a lot of research there. It's a really cool experience. As I mentioned, we do have several campuses. Our main campus is in Boca Raton, which is kind of near Fort Lauderdale. We're like 30-ish minutes from Miami, if you're familiar with the area, maybe more like an hour from Miami. We do have 6 campuses though. Boca is our main campus. We have the Jupiter campus, which is our Wilkes Honors College, and that's for honors students. We have a campus in Davie for upper level students and transfer students, a campus in Fort Lauderdale for architecture and design students. That's near all of the galleries and architecture studios downtown. And we have 2 campuses for ocean and marine research. We are considered a #1 doctoral level undergraduate research university, which means that students in undergraduate courses have the opportunity to be doing doctoral level research. You can usually work with your professors to find these opportunities, and we also have research assistants. There are over 6,000 undergraduate research activities currently registered with us, and you can always find more. The 2 students here are doing turtle nesting research at Gumbo Limbo, which is a nature park down here. We also have over 4,000 registered internships available for students. Registered means that it can count for class credit. So if students wanted to take 15 credits, which is about 5 classes, they could instead take 4 classes in an internship and it would still be 15 credit hours. Some of those internships are also paid. So going back to that 184,000 living alumni number, this is some of the recent career outcomes we've had for students at FAU who have graduated and gone on to work with these companies. Some of the companies that our Career Center has worked with to help them hire FAU alumni. We also have a system called Handshake that's essentially LinkedIn for FAU students and alumni. A lot of other schools have something similar, but basically it's companies will post looking for FAU alumni and students specifically to hire. And it's actually how I got my job at FAU as an admissions counselor. So we have very robust student life at FAU. There's always something going on campus. We have over 400 clubs and organizations registered. Students are also able to make their own clubs and organizations if they get together 9 of their friends and a faculty sponsor. Of course, they can also do things unofficially. And we have over 5,000 student-led events that occur on campus every year. So there's always something going on. This picture is our bonfire, which kicks off our fall semester and our football season. They usually bring in an artist. I know they brought in T-Pain one year and Big Sean, and they also like to sometimes, it's called the bonfire. So they'll build the mascot of whichever team we're opposing and they set it on fire. They've done that with the UCF night before. It was a pretty funny time. The campus rec is also included with tuition. We have a gym, we have courses available. And we are also a D1 school with 19 NCAA ranked sports. So applying to FAU is super easy. Our application for spring 2024 is currently open. And if you are a current junior in high school, your application for summer and fall 2024 will open in August. So if you're applying to FAU next year, your application will open in August. And we recommend you fill out all of your applications as soon as possible. So the application you can do either through our website or through the Common App. All it requires is submitting the online application and the fee, which is through the online application or the Common App, as I said. And then you go to a website that you're emailed about and directed to submit your self-reported academic record. This is called your SSAR. This is where you essentially manually input your grades. We don't need your transcripts until later on in the admissions process. You'll also do the same thing with your test scores on something called App Status. You'll manually input those for us as well. Once you've done all of that, your application is complete. We have a priority deadline of November 1st usually, but we also have a merit scholarship consideration deadline. So if students apply before January 15th, they would automatically be considered for merit scholarships based on their grades. So we usually say August through January is like that key time, but August through November is even better. So this is our student profile. This is our middle 50% of admitted students. This is a bell curve, and we do accept above and below these numbers. You'll notice that fall is a little bit more competitive than the summer, but students who apply to FAU are evaluated for all terms of entry. So if you apply for fall, but you fit better in our summer academic profile, we'll admit you for summer. So as you can see, the GPA range is there, and that is a recalculated GPA based on core courses. That is not the GPA on your transcripts. The SSAR recalculates everyone's GPA on the same scale. The SAT and the ACT scores listed are super scored. So if you take the test twice, we will take the highest section scores that you get. As I mentioned, you are evaluated for all terms of admission. We also have a few programs that begin in the summer to help get students college calculus ready depending on their majors. So admitted students, their first number one step is to submit their tuition deposit. The tuition deposit due date is May 1st for us. Then all of the rest of these steps open. If you are an admitted student and you are trying to live on campus, I would recommend applying for housing today. And then pathways to pay. We do have a couple of scholarships and things that we like to point out. So the FAU scholarship deadline, as I mentioned, is January 15th. That should be the same next year. So you want to make sure that you get your application in before then, because then you are automatically considered for scholarships based on your grades in high school. We also recommend everyone does FAFSA. Try to do it as soon as possible because need-based aid is usually given out in order. Also, even if you don't think you qualify for financial aid, please do the FAFSA anyways, because it can help us determine what aid we can give you. We do have a page of additional scholarships available. If you Google FAU external scholarships, a ton of them pop up. There's one in particular, a website that we like to recommend called Scholarship Universe. If you use that, you can give it all of your information after you've applied to FAU, such as your name, your demographics, and it will populate a list of scholarships you may be eligible to apply for. We also have Raise Me, which a lot of schools use Raise Me. If you're a junior in high school or younger, I would recommend you download this. It's an app that helps you get money for micro scholarships, essentially. So you can get a couple of bucks for visiting a tour day or taking the SAT. So that's my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm going to check the chat and I'll hang around for a few minutes. Oh, and I have some questions right now that I'll answer while we're talking. So how does the Honors College work? If you are going for business or science, for example, do they have all of the majors and degrees in the Honors College? That's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. So we do have a few concentrations at the Honors College. You get either a bachelor's in arts or a bachelor in science. Their list of concentrations is available online. And we also have a full team at the Honors College to assist you if you want to email them with questions. I believe they do have business, just general business there. And I know that they have many sciences there because 2 of our research centers are at the Wilkes campus. So the Common App is for all Florida universities, or well, I'm not going to say all, it's for a lot of Florida public universities. A lot of universities use the Common App, but not all of them do. So you always want to double check. If my student is a junior in high school this year, does that mean he has to apply in August, or is this for seniors only? So if your student is a junior in high school this year, you are probably looking at the next year for starting the application cycle, which means that your applications for after senior year, this direct fall after senior year, would probably open in this August. So you have time, but a lot of schools do open in August. And like I said, it's best to do everything as early as possible. I am not sure what the GPA or SAT cutoff was for last year's honors science and medical class. You might have to reach out directly to the College of Science for that. But generally it's the same as the credentials or the range that I posted before. And you can always Google FAU admissions requirements, and the range that we look for generally is posted there. Housing on campus is limited for FAU. It is first come, first serve. Students do have to be admitted and deposited in order to apply for housing. I will hang around for a few more minutes if anybody wants to message me in the chat. The application date for summer 2024, that will also open in August. That will open at the same time as fall 2024. So currently only spring 2024 is open for FAU. So if your student is a junior in high school, you'll probably do it in fall, which is August, it will open. All of the universities right now, I would say, are probably having issues with housing. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but our university does not guarantee housing for any students. All right, I'll hang around for a bit. Thank you so much, everyone. And let me put another email in the chat too, in case anyone feels more comfortable reaching out that way.
Thank you so much, Haley. Again, if you guys have any questions for Haley, pop those in the chat box. Otherwise, we are going to pass it over to Sharon with the New College of Florida.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us, all of us today, to learn more about the State University schools in Florida. I am representing New College of Florida. We are Florida's public honors college. Now, what that means is that the whole college is honors. We're not a school within a school, like you just heard. FAU has an honors college within the university. Some of the others also have an honors college within. We are the honors college. We were designated by the state of Florida in 2001 to be the honors college. And what that means basically is every course that we have is considered honors. Every course is worth 4 credits instead of 3. Every course has critical thinking, problem solving, writing component to it. So it is very much discussion-based classes. We are the smallest of the colleges within the state university system. Currently, we have 700 students total. That's purely undergraduate students, except for one program in applied data science. So the college, everything, all the campus resources, all the clubs and activities, all the dorms are for undergraduate students, which is great. We actually feel like a private college, but you're paying public tuition, which is amazing. You're getting an amazing education for those of you who are obviously in-state students. You can also use Bright Futures here, Florida Prepaid, and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will start. Let's see. Let me just make sure I can see this okay. Can everybody see this okay?
We can see it great.
Perfect, okay. So I'm going to show some slides. I do have a brief video in here, so I'm going to try to see if it plays okay, and then we'll go further into the presentation.
I wanted to let you know we can see the video. It's a little choppy, but we do not have noise coming through.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we'll just go through it. This is basically showing you how the small classes work. And the faculty working directly with students as the faculty teach all of their classes. Never have a teaching assistant here. Our faculty are all on deck, all together with the students, advising the students as well. Continue on. Having technical difficulties here. Okay, here we go. Okay. As I mentioned before, our faculty, which are all PhDs, all at the top of their fields, are teaching all of their classes. We do have a 6-to-1 faculty to student ratio because we have 700 students. So your average class size is going to be 11 students. So if you're thinking about somewhere that you want to go, that you want to be in a more private, kind of smaller environment, and to really delve into learning and working with professors and doing research right away and being able to really do a lot of internships and hands-on experience, you might want to look into New College of Florida. We are the #5 public liberal arts college in the country. We're very highly ranked and have been for many, many years. We've been around since 1960. We were a part of USF back way long ago, back in 1975 to 2001. But 2001 is when we were named the Honors College for the state of Florida. These are some of our students, some who are actually about to graduate next month. Jacob, Rosemary, and Sophia were also part of our admissions team here. They were working, we call them STARS, student ambassadors, who would give this campus tours and so forth. So when you come for a campus visit here, you will be taken around our campus by a current student. So you can ask them questions, you can ask them anything about student life and so forth. Some of our students are doing amazing things. Jacob's going off to work in Japan next year as a teacher. Rosemary is currently on a Fulbright scholarship, which is a very prestigious scholarship that you go and do work internationally. And Sophia is also doing some great work in her area of concentration, which is our majors. These are all of our different majors. We call them areas of concentrations. It's a very flexible curriculum here. You don't need to stay in one lane here. You can actually take different paths and put them together here. For example, we have the humanities, which include art, music, philosophy, creative writing. We have natural sciences, math, biochemistry, computer science, data science, physics, statistics, marine biology, social sciences, and one of our most popular ones is psychology, economics, political science. Interdisciplinary programs are programs that you can add with other majors as well. So animal well-being, conservation, museum studies, neuroscience, for example. We also have a full theater, dance, performance studies major. We also have pre-professional programs such as pre-health and pre-law. Many of our students get their bachelor's degree at New College of Florida and then go on to law schools, med schools, graduate programs, PhD programs, starting their careers. They're really getting a strong foundation at New College of Florida, and that's really a springboard to the next level to wherever they want to go. What's unique about New College of Florida is that we have a curriculum that I mentioned before is tailored to your interests, and it's flexible. We are on a contract system, an academic contract, which means every semester students have a contract. They meet with their faculty advisor and they go over not only the classes that they'll be taking, but also their goals, short-term goals, long-term goals. Faculty are going to work with you to make sure you get to where you want to go. This is your education. You get to drive it. You get to choose. You get to choose your path, and there is support along the way. So we're going to help you find your passions. We're going to help you if you change your mind and you don't know if you want to continue studying, for example, chemistry, and you want to go into marine biology. We will help you pivot and be able to complete your degree in 4 years. So students here also for the grading system, we do not have traditional grades. So students do not receive a GPA at New College of Florida. They receive narrative evaluations, which are performance appraisals like you would get in the real world when you have a job. My job as Senior Associate Director here at New College of Florida, I don't get an A or B for my job. I get a very well-written, detailed evaluation on how I performed in my job. What were the strengths? What do I need to improve upon? How should I grow? So forth. So this is what you're going to get here. We're preparing you for the world. Now, during the time that you have your courses, you'll have your syllabus, you'll have your papers that you'll need to write, the books you'll need to read, and all those kinds of things. And you will, during those times, you will get most likely traditional graded work, so you know how you are progressing. But at the very end of your course, you will receive a satisfactory or an unsatisfactory and your personalized evaluation from your professor saying, Sophia, you did wonderfully when you presented your project. I think you need to improve upon your data science skills or your data skills, and this is how I encourage you to do that. Please work with our library and our staff, and they're going to show you exactly what to do and so forth. So there's very good feedback critical feedback to give you to help you improve. And what this does, it helps you grow and get out of your comfort zone. This way, you're not just taking classes that you might, this will be easy, I'll get an A, you know. No, we want you to think, we want you to grow, we want you to pursue and learn. So this is what our students do here. Now you can also get certificates along with your majors. So we do have, for example, Bloomberg Market Concepts, so finance and so forth, and digital media. And we do have a graduate program in applied data science. Now within this contract, so every semester you'll have a new contract. Your goal is to pass, succeed, you know, do well in this contract and go to the next one. Now within the contract, you can take risks and take classes that you might not be sure how you're going to do, but you're curious. But there will be no worries if you don't do well in the course, because if you do not pass a course, it will not go on your transcript. So we want you to be able to go and take courses that you're curious about. For example, one of our students who has since graduated was a music major coming in, and then she decided she would want to take physics to see how she would do in the class. She wasn't sure, so she just went ahead and took the class. It turns out she really enjoyed the class. She was good at physics. She found out, she didn't realize, and she decided to go forward and take more classes in physics. So she decided to double major music and physics, completed her degree in 4 years, graduated, decided to go on to graduate school to learn more. She applied to 6 different graduate schools, got into all of them. She decided to go to the University of Pennsylvania and study nanotechnology. She's now a software engineer in Philadelphia. Okay, that one physics course changed the trajectory of her life just because she was curious and she wanted to try. You don't have to worry about tanking your GPA. There's no GPA. You will not have to worry about that. So this is a place for you to grow, to learn. And students go on, like as she did, without a GPA to get into an Ivy League program. Graduate schools, law schools, med schools, they know New College of Florida well. They know how we evaluate students, and they love our students because our students can think, problem solve, and think critically. This is an example of one of the narrative evaluations. So as you can see, there's a lot of sentences here, a lot of words, so forth. So it's very detailed. Your professors are going to know you. If there are 11 students in the class, they're going to know you. They're going to know if you're not at class, they'll be worried. They'll check on you. This is a community. We check on each other. We make sure you're good. We help each other. And it works, faculty, staff, and students together. All of our students here do internships. They also do independent study projects, which are done in the month of January, where there are no classes. It's independent study project month. Students either do internships, they go overseas to learn a language, they do a project that they're passionate about, and these are some of the projects that some of our students have done. One of our students, Tony Ginsberg Clements, who started our PRU team, she won an award for a solar carport that she created. Our students are very creative. They're also out of the box thinkers, they're entrepreneurs. So they go on, they create their own businesses, and they create apps and so forth. Students also do senior capstone projects, which is in your 4th year. You will work with your advisor on what you want to focus on and dive deeply into that subject. So some students, if they're in marine science, they'll work on, for example, shark research. We've got students, you see here, hip hop and racial epistemologies in the US, that you can really do anything that you want to really discover and research. You are encouraged to go outside of New College of Florida, explore the world, study abroad. You can do that anywhere in the world. Our students go all over the world. We also have a national student exchange. So if you're interested in studying somewhere else within the US for a semester, you can do that as well. We are part of something called the Cross College Alliance. So as a New College of Florida student, you can also take classes at the Ringling College of Art and Design, which is right down the street from us. They're world famous for art, animation, film. State College of Florida, as well as the University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee campus, which is right next door to us. The Ringling Florida State University is more of a theater program. There's a theater called the Oslo here, which is in Sarasota, that is part of the FSU program. If you're interested in environmental studies, we are part of the Eco League, which means as a new college student, you can go to any of these places that you see here: Alaska Pacific University, College Atlantic, Dickinson, Northland, and Prescott. These are different colleges around the country with different ecosystems, different climates, different temperatures, and so forth, for students to learn about environmental science and studies. So again, a lot of ways for you to diversify your college experience. You're not just at New College. The world is open to you. As a part of your college education is the career component. The career component is baked into your curriculum. We want you to be ready for the world in your jobs, in your careers, in your future education. So every course you take has career component and skills within it. Our professors work with our career office, and they have special skills that students are learning within their courses. We have a wonderful mentorship program here within our Career Center. We have our alumni network, and thousands of jobs and opportunities within databases that we have here at our college. Student life, very vibrant student life here. We have dorms, different types of dorms, residences, clubs, activities. We're right on the waterfront on Sarasota Bay, so we have a very large boathouse where you can take out kayaks and paddle boards and canoes. We have a sailing team. You can sail for fun. Our staff will teach you. We have a fitness center, swimming pool, athletic fields, volleyball, soccer, basketball, golf, and so forth. There is a lot to do here. And in Sarasota, there is a very thriving arts community here: opera, ballet, theater. It's incredible. Students do a lot of social justice, and they're very much advocates in the community, love to do a lot of volunteer work. We also have professional development, and we also have professional clubs as well. So how to apply to New College of Florida? We are a member of the Common Application, so you can apply via the Common Application or our application. There is no application fee. We do ask you to write a personal statement or an essay within the Common Application. We ask for your transcripts from your high school and also colleges if you have done dual enrollment. You can also do self-reported, so we don't need those official ones right away. Also your self-reported test scores, SAT or ACT. Counselor recommendations are optional, but we encourage you to send one in if you have a teacher or counselor that knows you really well and can write a really nice recommendation about you. That I would do it. I would send it in. Our class profile for fall 2022, middle 50% range, is this is a weighted GPA between 3.7 and 4.4. The SAT 1100 and 1320, and ACT 22 to 29. Again, we admit students below and above those scores. Our early action deadline is November 1st. February 1st is our regular application deadline, and June 1st is our final application deadline. So if there are seniors right now listening, you still have time to apply for the fall. Cost. So New College, since we are part of the state university system, is very affordable. Your tuition and fees as a Florida resident are less than $7,000 for the year. We have a fall semester and a spring semester. We don't have a summer semester. So, but those tuition fees cover the January interterm for the independent study project. Room and board is about $10,500 for the year. This does not include any scholarships. So this is even before Bright Futures, before the scholarships that we're going to give you. So you're going to get a scholarship from New College of Florida that's merit-based. And that is, there's no different scholarship application. It's just your application either on the Common App or the one or new college application, you will be considered for those merit scholarships. This is the scholarship for Florida residents. On the left-hand side is called the Four Winds Scholarship. And that will be between 1,000 to 3,000 per year, or 4,000 to 12,000 per year over the 4 years. So that's quite a nice scholarship that we're giving to you. Now we do ask you to fill out the FAFSA, which is the free federal student aid application that usually opens up usually October of every year. These are some of the other scholarships that you may want to consider. So if, for example, we do have Pell eligible scholarships. We do have, if you're at the top 10% of your class, there's a scholarship for that. There's National Hispanic, National Merit, and then the Four Winds Scholarship. And these are some of our students. And then we encourage you to come visit us. We have tours Monday through Friday. We do have some Saturday visits and some open houses, but we would love to tell you more. So if you want to take a snapshot of the QR code, you can enter your information as well to get on our list. And that's my presentation. So let's see, what kind of questions? Oh, there's a lot of questions. Yeah. Let's see, where are we? Do we apply? Okay. Okay, I'm just looking to see where we start here. Okay. Is there any questions? Oh, is the 10,000 out-of-state scholarship available to all out-of-state students? Yes, there is. And there's also something called the grandparent waiver. So if you're an out-of-state student, but you have a grandparent living in Florida, you can get in-state tuition at some of the state university schools. Any other questions?
I think one question that came up earlier, I know there's a lot of back and forth dialogue in
Yes,
that box here.
Yeah.
Was just wondering if New College of Florida is on Common App.
It is, yes. We are. You can use the Common App or you can use our application online. Either way, there's no fee. I'll put my email in the chat in case you want to feel free to email me any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you so much, Sharon. If any of you have questions, please make sure that you note her email address. Feel free for these next couple minutes to put them in the chat box. If you need a restroom snack break, now is the time to do it. If I have the representative in the room for the University of West Florida or North Florida, would you mind either private messaging me or changing the name in the chat to your university? That would be very helpful. Thanks, guys, and we'll get started here. Just a couple minutes after 5. So if you have 5 minutes to go run and do whatever you need to do and come right back. We had a couple families just join. Welcome. We are just taking a couple minute break between the presentations. We'll get started in just a couple minutes here. University of West Florida, if you are here, feel free to prepare your screen for screen share, and then we will get started in just a minute.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'll get that ready.
All right, everyone. I know that was a quick break, but we appreciate seeing you all. I think pretty much all of you stayed right here. And we actually had some additional families just log on in the last couple minutes. So without further ado, we are going to get to our next set of colleges. And so I'm going to pass the floor off to the University of West Florida. As a reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to use that chat box. We'll be monitoring that, and then we'll make sure the representatives look for any questions at the end of their brief presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know we've got, a pretty tight window for all of these universities. So I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to view what we all have to offer. So thank you all so much for being here today. My name is Katie. I am an admissions representative and recruiter for the University of West Florida. And today I'm going to give you a very brief insight into what the University of West Florida can offer you. So let's just get right into it. So first thing is first, just a quick review what we're going to go over. We call this presentation our Admissions 101 presentation. So we're first going to review a little bit about University of West Florida, our class profile, as well as some of those details about how to apply, as well as information about what kind of scholarship opportunities we offer. So that being said, a couple of our accolades here, very quick, just to show that we are considered a best regional college in the Southeast. And we also are considered a top public school. If you are not aware, the University of West Florida is a four-year public institution in the state of Florida. So there are 12 state universities in the state of Florida. We are one of those 12. So that being said, something else we're really proud of is, we get that question, right? When we're students and we're going off to college, we know what we want to study. We think, oh, I want to study English, Spanish, psychology, cybersecurity, anything that we're really passionate about. And the first thing our parents ask us, I know it happened to me, is, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that degree, right? So the cool thing about the University of West Florida is we are, for the second year in a row, considered a #1 university for getting our students employed 6 to 12 months after graduation. So that includes, going on to pursue your career, going on to pursue internships in the job field, as well as any kind of continuing education, so technical school, as well as graduate school. So it shows that you're not just here to get a four-year degree and we're kicking you out, right? We're here to make long-lasting impacts on you as students that you can use in the future to hopefully have a job right as you leave college. So a little bit about the university. We are 13,000 students in population. About 9,000 of those are going to be undergraduates, about 7,000 attend on campus as well. That does make us what's considered a medium-sized university. As far as the campus goes, we do consider a medium-sized campus as well. One of our little frequent creatures that you will see on campus, we refer to them as Argodillos because we are the Argos, the Argonauts. Obviously the little armadillos, they're very kind. They travel in little packs around campus. You'll see them all over the place. But as far as our campus does go, we do have 1,600 acres of campus. Like I said, medium sized. We are very well spread out with over 20 miles of nature trails. Our campus is very well maintained. We are also considered a green campus for making sure that we are environmentally conscientious, both with our campus as well as in our practices on campus. So if you're wondering where the University of West Florida is located, if you're like, I've never heard of you before, that is completely okay. That's why I'm here today, right? The University of West Florida is located up here in the Panhandle. So think Gulf Coast, think where Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana and Florida all come together, right? That's where we are. So the cool thing about our location is we are geographically centered between a lot of southeastern major cities. So for example, with you guys being down there, I would say Pinellas County, we're about I would say 6.5, 7 hours from there, 5 hours from Jacksonville, 3 from New Orleans, 4 from Birmingham. So if you're looking to be somewhere where you have the opportunity to explore a lot of cool places that are really close by, you actually have the opportunity to do that with us. Something else is we are considered a top 20 safest place to live, which is very cool. These pictures you're seeing right here in the previous picture are some of our downtown area. So our downtown is very vivacious. It's very lively. We hold amazing events down there. Actually, one of our transfer admissions counselors helped to paint some of the local art down there, which is very cool. Of course, it does not hurt that we are a very short drive from some of the US's most amazing beaches, right? About 20 minutes. Now looking into our class profile, we do offer smaller classes on campus. So we have that big university feel like that public institution, while also having the feel of a private institution, right? So we got that 21-to-1 student teacher ratio. What that means is we want to make sure you engage in an active and really interesting conversation with professors, with your fellow students, right? You have that one-on-one interaction. In fact, over 50% of our classes in general have fewer than 20 students. So that being said, we do have 5 academic colleges: our College of Arts, Social Sciences, Humanities, we call that CASH, our College of Business, which, fun fact about our College of Business, it has the same accreditation as Harvard's College of Business, which puts us in the top 3% of US business schools. We were very proud of that. We also have our College of Education and Professional Studies, America's College of Science and Engineering. That's going to house some of our most popular majors, including biomedical sciences. Let me see, some of our engineering programs as well. And then finally, we have that Usha Kundu College of Health. So a little bit more about our programs. We have over 70 undergraduate programs. So if you're worried about not having a program or not finding a program that's good for you, or you're not really sure you want to pursue yet, don't worry. Odds are we're going to have a program that interests you. We want to make sure you have the opportunity to explore as many of your interests as humanly possible. I'm not going to go through this whole slide, but as you can see here, it's a quick list of some of our top 10 majors from our summer and fall 2022 intake. You can see over there, biomedical science, as I mentioned before, very popular major, as well as general business, our nursing, psychology. We're sort of all over the place. We're not just science and engineering or business. We are pretty much everything. If you're looking for, a way to figure out maybe which career path is good for you, go to this link. Take our little quiz. As a student at the University of West Florida, you have the opportunity to engage in high impact practices. So we call that essentially you're learning by doing. For example, this very cool picture of Aslan the lion. He was created by our students in theater, arts, and engineering, right? Like it's a very cool opportunity. So you engage in collaborative learning efforts, service learning opportunities, undergraduate research as soon as your freshman year, mentorship programs such as our executive mentorship program with the College of Business, where you get paired with a CEO in Pensacola, fieldwork opportunities, the ability to engage in local discoveries, right? And of course, internships. So that being said, if you're also looking for opportunities to study abroad, we have that as well. We have an honors program that you can either apply to or be admitted into upon admission to the university. We are considered a military-friendly school. As far as living on campus goes, we do absolutely encourage you to live on campus. It is beautiful. We have a lot of reasons why we think you should live on campus. You're close to your classroom, you're close to our dining opportunities as well. And then we also have the amenities included. We've got you know, all of your needs essentially located in your residence hall, in your room. So internet, AC, utilities, all of that is included. We also furnish it for you. And then the cool thing about that is financial and scholarships do apply to that housing bill. You're able to meet some new friends, engage in over 130 student organizations, and as well as Greek life, if that's something you're interested in. We also have athletics. We are Division II NCAA for athletics. We have a broad range of teams for a total of 15 intercollegiate athletics teams. We've been in many championships as well as many national champions. We were 2019 national champions for NCAA Division II in football. We're very proud of that. And we also have an Argo athletic band if you're interested in pursuing some kind of marching band. So that being said, if you thought, you know, hey, this is really cool, I think I want to be an Argo too. What should I do? A couple of things you can do. One, you can look at our freshman class profile. All right. So this is going to be some of the estimated middle 50% sort of statistics for our first time in college students. This is from our fall 2022 intake. So we're looking at an average of about a 3.5 to 4.2 for the GPA, 21 to 27 for the ACT, 1050 to 1220 for the SAT. However, when it comes to the general application, there are a couple of things that we absolutely need, right? So at the very minimum, we do require a 2.7 GPA, and that is a weighted GPA. We also require that you send in at least one set of ACT or ST test scores. And this is a requirement for, you know, from the Florida Board of Governors. And that being said, if you're looking at the whole application, you know, what do we need to do to submit everything? You're going to submit a couple of things. So one, you're going to go to this little link right over here, did.edu/go apply. Yeah. You'll submit your general application, and then we'll have your application login, you know, complete, in which you will be able to go look at your checklist and see, okay, I need to make sure I submit one, my ACT or SAT test scores. Again, just one set of scores is all we need. But you're welcome to submit more because we do super score ACT and SAT test scores. We also have a $30 application fee or a fee waiver. If you have any kind of ACT, SAT, NACAC fee waiver, we can waive your fee. And then we also need something called the SAR or the SSAR, which stands for Student Self-Reported Academic Record. So that SAR is something that you fill out with your unofficial transcripts. You fill it out by yourself. It creates an admissions GPA for us. And then we're able to, you know, use that GPA for your admissions decision in total. As I mentioned previously, we do super score this ACT, SAT score. So if you have multiple test score reports, please send those in. Here's a quick little breakdown of the estimated first year costs. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. Basically, it's showing you, though, the average credit hour for Florida residents, as well as the estimated overall cost. Now, that being said, that is before you introduce financial aid, right? So 89% of our freshmen received financial aid in 21 to 2022 academic year, which resulted in about $9.3 million awarded to our freshmen. So the way to get started on the scholarship or financial aid process is to fill out that FAFSA, all right? The free application for federal student aid. Make sure you get that filled out as soon as possible. Generally, it opens in October. One of the reasons it's very good to fill this out is because you then find out if you are Pell Grant eligible or not. And if you are Pell Grant eligible as a Florida resident, you qualify for our Argo 30 guarantee, which covers your tuition up to 30 credit hours for the academic year. Basically, it pays for whatever the Pell Grant does not cover. Now, on top of that, we also have automatic consideration scholarships. These are scholarships based on merit or your GPA and your ACT, SAT test scores, right? So we're looking at about starting at a 3.5 and then with ST, ACT, 1160 and 24. Now we do need the GPA and the test score. Now you could be up in the 4.0, you know, for the GPA, you could be down in like the 24, 26 for the ACT. But as long as you have both of those, we can meet you in the middle. So the cool thing is with a GPA like this and test scores that are high, you will automatically be considered for these scholarships. Now that comes with a couple stipulations, which I will discuss in a minute. Now, we also have an invite-only scholarship competition, and these invitations are sent out in December to qualifying admitted students. And it's a full cover, it's full tuition scholarship, meal plan, housing. It's a very, very cool opportunity to come to campus. You write an essay, you interview with a faculty member. It's a lot of fun. But in order to be considered for our automatic consideration scholarships, our admissions merit scholarships, and our PACE Presidential Scholarship, you have to have your application completely turned in by our scholarship priority consideration deadline. This past year, that was December 1st, 2022. It could change for this upcoming year, but it generally is around the same time. If you're a National Merit Finalist, we have a scholarship tuition cover for you. And then we also have our spring scholarships, such as our Argo Spirit Scholarship, and that's based on a really cool, like 2 or 3 minute creative video essay. So if you want to come on campus, I'm going to wrap things up really quickly here. We would love to see you. If you decide you want to come check it out, schedule your campus visit with us, come on campus. We also have virtual tours as well. Join us for our in-person virtual events. We do have admissions events that are virtual, just like this one, that are done via Zoom in the evening. We also have all the social media, so make sure to give us a follow. We especially want to see you on Zeme. That is going to be considered our Instagram for college type app. So please come on, get engaged with our student influencers, meet some friends. We would love to have you. And then that is going to be it for my presentation at the University of West Florida. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will answer them. And thank you very much. I appreciate your time and attention. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Katie, thank you so much. And yes, students, families, if you have any questions, definitely pop those in the chat box. I am going to ask the University of North Florida to start sharing their presentation to keep us on schedule here. But again, if you have questions that are in general or for these schools specifically, using that chat box is going to be the best way to go.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jade. I am an admissions counselor at the University of North Florida. I'm also a former student there. So today we'll just kind of go through what campus life is like, what UNF has to offer, and a little bit about the application process as well. So a little bit about UNF in general and where we're located. We are a 4-year public university in Jacksonville, Florida. So right on the East Coast. That means we are 15 minutes from 3 different beaches. We're also 20 minutes from downtown Jacksonville, about 45 minutes from the Georgia border, 2 hours from Savannah. So there's a lot to do. And in total, we're about 17,000 students total, most of which are undergraduate students as well. And of course, we do have a 19-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and that means we do have smaller class sizes, right? So approximately on average 30 to 35 students per class. However, a lot of classes, especially in our honors college, are capped at around 20 students as well. So that means the professors are going to know your names, know your faces, be able to really interact with you and get you a lot of professional opportunities as well inside the classroom. And of course, we do have over 100 majors across our 5 colleges. That includes our Brooks College of Health, Coggin College of Business, our College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Computing, Engineering, and Construction. We also call that CCEC, and our College of Education and Human Services. So a few of our top programs, psychology is our largest and most popular program. Nursing is a very competitive, intensive program. One of our top majors is nursing, biomed, engineering, education. I was also a music and English double major myself. So that's a bit of what we have to offer across our 100 majors. And then a few of our high impact practices, of course, studying abroad. So UNF actually studies abroad at twice the national rate. These trips can last anywhere between 2 weeks to an entire academic year. And on these trips, you actually have the opportunity to earn class credit, right? So you'll actually, for example, I studied abroad in Ireland and I was able to earn class credit by exploring the Irish countryside, meeting Irish authors, everything like that. We also have a lot of scholarships that help students cover the cost of studying abroad as well. So a lot of those scholarships are really easy to come by and they're very, very generous about helping students travel academically. Additionally, of course, we have tons of opportunities for undergraduate research. Students typically within their junior, senior, even sophomore year get the opportunity to participate in research, get paired up with a faculty member, with one of their professors, and kind of spearhead their own research topic. Internship opportunities, especially within our Coggin College of Business, our engineering majors. A lot of those internships are also paid internships as well. So particularly our Coggin College of Business has a lot of really great connections with the Jacksonville community and UNF overall as well. And then community-based learning. So a lot of classroom time and learning at UNF actually happens outside of the classroom in the field. So for example, our marine bio majors actually spend a lot of their time in the water, taking water samples, working with marine life in the Atlantic Ocean, intracoastal, everything like that. So at UNF, they definitely make sure you are out there in the field getting hands-on experience instead of kind of just learning about what you want to study. You actually get to go out there and get hands-on work. All right, a little bit about our Hicks Honors College. Of course, that is nothing like an honors college in high school. As you can see a few of the benefits on the screen here, but it just offers a different twist or perspective on learning. It is not more work. It is not, you know, at a faster pace or at a higher level. It's just a different perspective on learning. So everything from, there are English classes where you get your general English credit, but you're learning maybe about food from different cultures, right? So it's just a different way to look at things. A few perks is that classes are capped at 20 students maximum. You get to move in early and go on a fun retreat. So you get to, you know, pick your side of the room first. And you also get to register for your classes early as well. And they, within the Honors College, have a lot of study abroad opportunities and funding to help students study abroad within the Honors College as well. And if you're an honors student studying abroad outside of the Honors College, maybe it's not an honors sponsored trip, because you're an honors student, they actually help out with those study abroad trips as well. So definitely look into the Honors College. You can apply for that after you're admitted to the university overall. And a few services on campus. So especially for first year students, you will have an advisor with you there throughout your entire first year. We also have our counseling center on campus. Our career center actually helps students prepare for professional opportunities, interviews, advice on what to wear to look professional, workshops on how to build on your resume. And then of course, you'll actually be paired with an upperclassman as your first year experience mentor to kind of help you throughout that first year as kind of a student to go to if you need any advice as well. And then a little bit about campus life. So we have over 200 clubs, 28 fraternities and sororities, as well as events such as concerts where celebrities come and perform. I think we had Young Gravy come actually a few weeks ago and perform for free for students. So those are a few things that go on campus, as well as drive-in movie theaters, comedy shows, concerts, things like that. And of course, a few other things. We have 19 Division I teams as well, highlighting basketball, soccer, baseball, softball. Those have all made it to the championship level at the Atlantic Sun Conference. Our student wellness complex, which is basically our gym, is actually one of the 3 largest wellness facilities within the Southeast. We also have intramural sports and club sports as well, depending on the level you're looking for. And our Eco Adventure just offers a lot of opportunities to get out there and, you know, go zip lining. You can canoe, kayak, paddleboard, a lot of things like that. So we are in a nature preserve, very, very nature oriented and eco-friendly as well. We do have 7 residence halls total on campus. No, you do not have to live on campus your first year, but you certainly are welcome to. We have 4 options for first year students, and we'll get a look at what those look like as well. So 3 of the 4 options look like this. So they're made for 3 people maximum, could be 2, depending on the size of your incoming class. There's also a private bathroom in the room for you and your roommate or roommates. And then our Osprey Hall is the 4th option, and that is traditional style. So that does have that community restroom. But again, the 3 of our first year residence halls do have that private restroom in the room. Additionally, you can bring your cars on campus your first year throughout as well. These are some of our LLCs, so you could live with students, you know, who have similar mindsets, lifestyles, or majors. Like you could live with other education majors, honor students, anything like that too. And then these are the dining options on campus, namely Starbucks, Panda Express, Chick-fil-A, Einstein's Bagels are a few very popular ones as well. And then as far as the application process, so for any seniors who might be here, our application for you will actually close this June 1st. For juniors, our application will open for you on our website July 1st. You can apply, if you want to apply that early in July, you can apply on our website, and we just need additionally a $30 application fee or fee waiver. We do prefer your high school transcripts to be submitted through the SSAR, the Self-Reported Student Academic Record. That's just where you can submit your grades and coursework to us to have it rendered in our system. We prefer it because it is a bit faster. However, your guidance counselor can also submit your transcripts through Faster or Speedy. Those are the systems that we do accept electronic transcripts. Additionally, we'll need a test score on file, one or the other, but we do super score as well, SAT and or ACT. All right, so for preparing to go into your senior year as a junior, definitely want to make sure you're taking the SAT and or ACT, keeping an eye out for that application, which again opens earliest July 1st. And if you do apply that early, we actually have an early decision event called Apply in July, where we travel throughout the state of Florida. It'll be held at UNF in Jacksonville, Orlando, and Tampa. We meet with students and give them an on-the-spot in-person admissions decision July before senior year. So you would actually be able to potentially get a decision this upcoming July before senior year. It is not binding as well. So you are free to let us know a decision around May 1st of senior year, like normal. So again, that's Apply in July. You can go on the website and sign up for the dates in your areas now. And then this is how we recalculate your admissions GPA. This is basically your core classes. We additionally add a full point of weight for any AP, ACE, IB, or dual enrollment, and half a point of weight for honors, pre-ACE or pre-IB. These are our mid-ranges per term. So fall is very competitive. That's why there are different mid-ranges per term. So if you apply for fall, just know we're considering you for every term available, like summer and spring as well. So if you apply for fall, but you get a summer acceptance, that just might be because we do see you might fall within that summer mid-range. So just keeping those mid-ranges in mind as you're applying to UNF. And these are our application deadlines. As you see, we have an application deadline and a materials deadline. The application deadline is just when you need to hit submit on your application to have it rendered in our system by that date. The materials deadline is when we will need your transcripts, your test scores, your fee or fee waiver in our offices by that date, not just postmarked by that date. So submitted, finalized in our office by the materials deadline, not just postmarked. And a little bit about our scholarships at UNF. We do have our presidential scholarship, which is an example of our automatic merit-based scholarships. And these, once you are admitted to UNF, that is when you will be considered for any kind of automatic scholarships. That's when you'll see any financial aid packages, or that's when you will be able to apply for scholarships as well. So you can find out more scholarships on our website or by contacting our One Stop Student Services. They handle all financial aid and scholarship information. And of course, this is information about the FAFSA as well. Opens up October 1st of every year with that deadline of October 15th for priority consideration. And then your official way to commit to UNF is registering for our new student orientation. So when you get admitted, you can let us know an unofficial decision of just kind of where your head's at by submitting a decision reply form, letting us know whether you're ready to commit or you're still looking around. If you are ready to commit, you can register for new student orientation that takes place starting around mid-May to late July as well. And that is when you will spend 2 days, one overnight at UNF in our upperclassmen residence hall, getting to know your peers, getting to know campus a bit more before going into your first semester. There's also parent and family orientation as well. And if you're ever looking to visit campus and learn more information, you can come and take a tour. We do have in-person and virtual tours. In-person tours take place throughout the weekdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can sign up online. And then we do have admission special events as well, where you can come up to Jacksonville and we offer a test prep, and we also offer open houses as well on select dates. Those are called Explore UNF. And that is it from me about UNF.
Thank you so much. I know you have a couple questions in the chat box, so I'll let you take a look at those. But in the meantime, I'm going to have Florida State University go ahead and line up their presentation and we'll get going.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share this. Excellent. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here this evening. My name is Andrea Flores. I'm an assistant director in the Office of Admissions here at Florida State University. I'm also a proud alumni of Florida State. I graduated a very long time ago now, about 10 years ago, but I earned my bachelor's degree in psychology and then went on to get my master's degree in counseling. So FSU has been a very special part of my life for quite some time. And I am super excited to be here tonight to be able to share some information and, of course, answer any questions that you have. I know our time is limited, so I do want to go ahead and jump right into the presentation. A little bit about us, just kind of in general. We are located up in Tallahassee, Florida. We're up in the capital of the state. We are currently ranked in the top 20 of the best public institutions in the entire country. That is something that we are really, really proud of at Florida State. Lots of different factors will play into us being able to achieve that ranking, but two that I wanted to highlight for you tonight will be both our retention rate as well as our student to faculty ratio. So currently our retention rate is at a 95%. What does that mean? That means that students are coming to Florida State and they're staying at Florida State. There are a ton of services here to make sure that you are successful as a student, not just the academic pieces, which of course we have. We have things like the ACE Tutoring Center, writing labs, math labs, all sorts of things that are really going to help you do well in your coursework. But we're also going to have a ton of career and professional development opportunities, opportunities for you to gain internships and different experiences while you're here. And then of course, help with that employment piece after you graduate. We're also going to help with that social and that emotional piece as well, right? That transition from high school to college is a big one for a lot of students. And so that first year, especially, we concentrate a lot of our time and energy in making a very big university feel small for you. We have living learning communities on campus. We have freshman interest groups, different ways that will really kind of shrink down the size, help you to find people that have similar interests to you, make friends, create those support systems that are really going to be your college family for the next 4 years. In addition to that, we do have a 21-to-1 student to faculty ratio. While that does not mean that every class that you will take at Florida State will only have 21 students, what it does mean is that Florida State has made a very conscious effort over the past few years to lower class size. We have 40,000 students on our campus. We are a very, very large institution, but we have learned over the years that no one learns really well in very large lecture style settings. So 85% of the classes at Florida State will have 40 or less students in them currently. And all of the first year classes, the things that kind of everybody has to take when they come to Florida State, things like ENC 1101 and MAC 1105, those courses are all capped at 25 students. So again, really focusing in on that transition, that first year, making sure that your classes look pretty similar to what you had in high school, and to really ease that transition into the college setting. Of course, being at a university the size of Florida State, you're going to have lots and lots of options. We have over 276 different academic and professional degree programs on our campus. There is literally something for everyone here. With that being said, I do want to turn your attention to this really great resource that we have. It's called our Academic Program Guide. You can see the link up at the top of the screen. And basically, this is going to be a full A to Z list of all 276 of those majors that I just talked about. It's a great way to go in. You can click through, you can see a full description of the program. You can see a full list of the mapping requirements. And basically all that is the coursework that you'll have to complete in order to earn that specific degree. So it's a really great way to kind of get an idea for what your life would look like, what your day-to-day will look like in that specific program. Lots of schools will have similar majors. So if you're interested in things like business or engineering, those are pretty common across universities, but the focus may be different. The types of coursework that's offered may be different. So it is really important to do this research ahead of time to kind of get an idea for what it's going to be like and what school is going to be the best fit for your interests. The Academic Program Guide also has a major comparison tool, which is one of my favorite features. You can go in there and you can kind of put two different majors side by side. So it'll allow you to kind of look at the similarities and the differences between each of the programs and really decide what's going to work best for you. If you are not quite sure what you want to study yet or still deciding between a couple of different options, FSU offers a really great program called an exploratory program. That is basically going to be a structured first year experience that's going to let you explore your options. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pair you with an exploratory advisor. They're going to meet with you pretty regularly throughout that first year at Florida State. They're going to talk to you about your interests, what type of job you might want to have, kind of the ideas that you have in terms of what you'd like to study. They're going to help you pick the major that's going to work best for you, help you connect all those dots, make sure that you find what's best for you. About 40% of our students come in under that exploratory window. So you are in good company. It is a very popular option for our students here at Florida State. With that being said, we'll jump into the application process. Our application process will start for you right at the beginning of your senior year. So our application opens in August, typically a few weeks before senior year starts, especially here in Florida. You will have the ability to apply using the Common App, or you can apply directly on our website. We have absolutely no preference on which application you choose. It literally is just going to be what's going to be most efficient for you. If you're applying to other schools that accept the Common App, you can utilize that. If you just like to apply directly to Florida State, you can absolutely do that as well. Comes down to our end pretty similarly, so no worries there. The one main takeaway that I'd like you to take from this slide specifically is that the application process is only part one of applying to the university. There are some additional items that we'll need you to submit in order to have a complete application on file for you. So it is super, super important that you are hitting submit, whether it's on that Common App or on that institutional application, that you're doing that well before the deadline, giving yourself plenty of time to be able to complete part two of our process. So part two is our application status checklist, basically about 24 to 48 hours after you hit submit. So you got to hit submit on your application, and within about 24 to 48 hours, you're going to receive an email from us. It's going to say, thank you for applying to Florida State. Here is a link for a customized checklist based on the information that you indicated on your application. And so you're going to get this link, you're going to click on it. It's going to look like what you see on your screen. Essentially, this is a checklist of all of the additional items that we'll need. Now, your checklist may look a little bit different from your friend's checklist, just depending on the ways that you answered certain questions on the application. The 4 items that every student will need to submit, regardless of how you answered questions, are going to be our self-reported student academic record. So the SSAR, which I'm sure you've heard mentioned a couple times this evening, that is a self-reported transcript. We will also need test scores. We accept either SAT or ACT, no preference on which one. And we do allow students to self-report the scores, so you don't have to pay to send them from the testing agency at this point in the process. The other item will be a list of activities or a resume. This can include things that you're doing outside of the classroom. And then your final piece is going to be your first year essay. And so those 4 items are things that every student will have to submit. Once we have received them, you'll see a green check mark on your checklist, similar to what you see on the bottom of your screen. And things that are still pending or things that we still need will have a red X. So the goal here is to have all green check marks on that checklist by the deadline day. Now, speaking of deadlines, here is a little bit of a breakdown of how our deadlines work. This was the first year that we did this. It was really successful. Our seniors this year were really happy with this. And so we are going to continue this into next year's cycle as well. We offered an early action deadline this year, which was only open to Florida students. So you have to be graduating from a high school here in the state of Florida to be eligible to apply this early. But basically, you would submit your application and all of your materials. So all green check marks on that checklist by October 15th, and you will receive your decision on December 15th. So we release everybody's decision at the same time. You will know exactly what day to check your checklist and be able to see exactly what your decision is. Now, a lot of students aren't quite ready to apply by October 15th. Usually the most common thing is test scores. They want to continue to test, try to get their scores up as high as possible. And so December 1st is our next deadline. That would be a regular decision deadline open to all students. And you just have to wait a little bit longer for your decision. So we will release all of those decisions on February 15th. If FSU is one of your top choices, I highly, highly recommend that you are not applying any later than December 1st. We are going to admit a large majority of our student body in those first 2 deadlines. Definitely keep that in mind as you're kind of compiling all your documents and everything and getting ready to apply. Probably the number one question that we receive at FSU is, what do I need to get in? What do you guys look for in your applications? And so this year we've kind of broken down our review process into a way that's really easy to explain. Our university has these 3 beautiful has a university seal that has these 3 beautiful torches in them. And they stand for the Latin terms for viris, artis, and moris, which are the Latin words for strength, skill, and character. That is how we break down our review at Florida State. So your first section, your strength section, is going to come from your academics. We're going to look at things like GPA. We're going to look at things like course rigor, the high school profile. So we never want to penalize a student for anything that is outside of their control. We look at what your school has to offer, and we're kind of expecting that you're taking more advanced courses and things like that based on what your school is offering. The next piece, your artist piece or your skill piece, is going to come from your resume, the list of activities that you include on your application. This is your non-academic involvement, things like clubs, sports. It can be community service. It can be a job. We have no preference on how you spend your time. We just want to see that you're balancing your time with school and something else. Again, we never want to penalize a student for something that is outside of their control. And so if you cannot participate in clubs or sports or things like that because you have family responsibilities, you watch a younger sibling or an elderly grandparent or something like that, please share that information with us on your list of activities. There is a section where you can indicate family responsibilities. And so we want to just kind of get an idea for how you spend your time. And the last piece is going to be that character piece. That's going to come from your essay. Again, your essay is very open-ended. You can pretty much write about anything that you'd like. It really is your space for you to share any additional information about yourself that you feel would be important for us to know. So really think about, what is it about me that I want this college to know or think about? And that's what we're going to take from that section. We put all of that stuff together when we're coming up with our admissions decision, and all of those things are weighed equally across the board in our review process. I always like to put this up before I put this up because this always scares everyone. This is our academic profile. It is the middle 50% of admitted students from the previous academic year. The GPAs that you see here are based on a 5.0 scale. They will be recalculated. I know you've heard that a couple of times this evening as well. We only look at core coursework at Florida State. So we're talking about English, math, science, social studies, and world language courses. And we're going to give students additional weight for any advanced courses that they're taking. So anything like honors, pre-AP, pre-IB, AP, IB, ACE, dual enrollment, all those courses will get additional weight when you submit those to us. We do count any electives that are AP, IB, or ACE level. We do not count dual enrollment electives. So that is a big distinction between those, but we will recalculate that GPA. We also will superscore both SAT and ACT. So that's another important piece. If you test more than once, you can use your highest subscores. So if you test 3 times and you got your highest math score during your first attempt, but you didn't get your highest reading score until your 3rd attempt, you can take those 2 high scores and put them together. And so it definitely benefits you to test early and to test several times if you can. Oops. There we go. I did want to mention this wonderful program that we have at Florida State. It is called the CARE program. If there is anyone on the call who is the first in their family to go to college, or among the first in their family, if you have siblings in college, you definitely still count, and students who are Pell eligible as well. This is a phenomenal program to look into. The CARE department does a lot of different things across our campus, but this is probably their largest program. You'll come to campus in the summertime and you'll just get connected across campus, meet other CARE students, and there's a lot of funding tied to that as well. As far as cost of attendance goes, you can see the breakdown here between in-state and out-of-state tuition. This is for a full academic year. We do consider students for merit-based scholarships when they apply. So they are automatically considered. There's no additional scholarships that you'll need for our additional applications that you'll need, I'm sorry. For our Florida students, the scholarship is a $12,000 award that you'll receive over 4 years. So it's an additional $3,000 that you can stack on top of Bright Futures, FAFSA, any additional monies that you receive from there. Students are not required to live on campus at Florida State. However, about 85% of our freshmen do choose to. We are a very residential campus. You have to be admitted before you can actually contract for housing. And so that's why, again, another benefit of applying and being admitted early so that you can contract for housing as soon as possible. Dining, you will definitely not go hungry at Florida State. We have 30 different dining options on campus, 2 all you care to eat dining halls, which is like a buffet style. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week on a rotating menu. We also have all of your favorites from home, like Chick-fil-A and Starbucks and Pollo Tropical and Panda Express and all of the things. So you will absolutely have plenty to eat.
We do offer meal plans, but just like the housing, it is an optional piece to your experience. Last but not least, guys, come and see us. I think that is a really great way, regardless of the school that you're interested in, to get a feel for what it would be like to be a student. Visit.fsu.edu. We'll have all of our tours. We do them year round, so you can come at any time, select the day that works best for you, and then you'll be able to book that there. That same website has a lot of virtual programming as well. So if you can't quite make it to campus, we do a virtual admissions presentation, virtual tours, all sorts of fun things like that. And then I will leave you with my contact information. I'm going to stick around a little while and answer some questions that you have in the chat. But if anything comes up or you need any additional information, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you guys so much.
Andrea, thank you so much. And you do definitely have a couple questions in the chat. So for those of you who just joined, if you have questions, the chat box is going to be the perfect place to put those, not only for Florida State, but the other colleges who are presenting this evening as well. And without further ado, I am going to ask our representative from Florida Polytechnic University to spend the next 15 minutes presenting to you all.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Savannah. I am from Florida Polytechnic, and it's kind of hilarious because I'm having technical difficulties. So 1 second. Okay, we're in business. All right, so we are Florida Polytechnic University. I'm an admissions counselor here at Florida Poly, and can everyone see my screen?
We can see your screen, but the audio is not coming through for the video.
Okay, sorry, everybody.
The future of building starts with an idea, a vivid imagination, a daring dream. It's a world where STEM isn't a buzzword. We are phoenixes on the rise, driven to make breakthroughs and find solutions to problems yet to be solved. The ones with the passion, the grit to change the world. And we know that when one of us soars to new heights, we all rise together.
So I absolutely love that video. It just gets me very excited about Florida Poly. So we are part of the State University system, and we are the newest of the 12 state universities. We are also the only one that is 100% dedicated to the STEM field. So when we are looking at, the science people in the room, the technology people in the room, the engineers in the room, the math people in the room, this is going to be a great place where you can thrive and really focus on that STEM field. So we have been named for the past 2 years the #1 public college in the region. We love that, being that we are so new. We have achieved very great rankings, and being top 30 public engineering program without a PhD is also one that we are very proud of, because that is up there with all of the Harvards and the Stanfords, really big schools that have been around for almost 200 years. So being that we've only been around for about 12, that is pretty impressive. This is just a quick little snapshot of our academic profile as well. We do have a very high academically achieving students here at Florida Poly. And one thing I like to make note here is that as an admissions counselor, I can tell you that we do read your entire application and all of your letters of recommendation and things like that. So when we are considering you for admissions, we look at everything from a very holistic standpoint. We do not just look at your test scores or your GPA, we know that you're more than just a number. So keep that in mind when you are looking into different colleges and things like that. Don't look at a GPA or an academic profile and then run the other way. Definitely give it a shot. And just a couple other things here is that we are #1 for the lowest out-of-state tuition, if we have anybody here that knows anybody. And then we are #3 university in Florida for top performance at a low cost. I love that because we have such state-of-the-art facilities and everything that you're going to need to learn in a STEM environment. You have that without having a very large tuition to pay for. But our academics here at Florida Poly, we strive to create an environment where all of our students are going to explore and create and implement all of the ideas that they have for the future. So the way that we do that is that we have very small class sizes. We have about, I would say about average 20 students to a class, and that is from your, general education classes that you need to your more advanced, higher upper class classes that you're going to be taking. Something that our president, his name is Randy Advent, he always says that the STEM field and engineering is not a spectator sport. So you have to learn very hands-on with STEM and have to be able to have that one-on-one with your professors and with your other students in your class. So this is just a couple of examples. This is an actual classroom where you have the tools right there in front of you to be able to learn everything that you need to learn. The professor's walking around, being able to talk to you, answer any questions that you may have. Very hands-on with high-tech technology. And we have different, opportunities for different majors as well. These are environmental engineers out there working as well. So when we're thinking about the beginning classes that you would take at Florida Poly, we focus heavily on the STEM core. So we're looking for students that are going to be very strong in the math department, the science department, and, we are not the typical school that is going to require you to take many humanities courses or many arts courses or, some of those general education classes within your first 2 years. We focus solely on our STEM core. This is going to be the prerequisites to all of our programs. So here's just a quick snapshot of all of the programs that we have here at Florida Poly. And what we do is we have a we have a major and then we have a smaller concentration. So what that allows our students to do is it allows them to actually blend some of their concentrations together. So if you want to go into mechanical engineering and you want to do aerospace, but say you want to do, work with AI. So, you can blend some of those things together from other majors as well, which is really nice when you think about the STEM field being very well-rounded as well. Also, 100% of our students are going to graduate from Florida Poly with an internship. So all of our students do at least one internship before they graduate. And many of these internships do take place at big names such as Amazon, the FBI, and NASA, all of those different companies. But our internships allow our students to get that in-field experience to really solidify that they want to go into the STEM field. And it makes those connections for them for the future, for graduation, and so on and so forth. And something else that we do that allows our students to build on their networking abilities is our senior capstone project. So our senior capstone is going to be a 9-month-long project that you would do throughout your senior year. So what happens is companies actually do come to Florida Poly and they say, hey, we have this real world problem and we need you to assemble a team of students to fix said problem. And so what we do is we, assign that to a group of students, whether that is interdisciplinary, meaning you have mechanical engineers with electrical engineers, with computer science majors coming together to, build something and solve that problem. Or it could be just computer science majors, maybe working on an app for Microsoft. But the goal of the senior capstone is to actually present this project to the company. You would meet with the company weekly and really showcase your skills that way. So our senior capstone, at the very end, we have a senior capstone showcase. So this is where all of the companies come out and they're able to meet our students. So even if it's not the company that you were specifically working with, you're able to meet with them. And if they really like your contributions to the project, then you would be able to, give them your resume and different things like that. So lots of different opportunities because we know that we want to get you hired. We know that, not everything is just college. And so the goal is to get out there and secure that job. And so that is our goal for all of our students. And we work very closely with our students. Our professors work very closely with our students to make sure that when you are in your senior year, you are ready to go out into the field and just run with that. But Florida Poly, as we are very new, we are growing. This is our Applied Research Center here down in the right corner. And then on the left, the more rounded building is going to be our Innovation and Science Technology building. And then you can see the dorms behind there. The Applied Research Center did open just this last August. It is a gorgeous 90,000 square foot building of state-of-the-art technology, labs, classrooms, and faculty offices. So actually surrounding this entire border of this building are faculty offices, which allow you to meet with the professor. If you are in the lab, you can just check to see if they're in their office, ask them questions. You really get to know your professors here at Florida Poly. And so we are growing as well. So we are currently under construction for our phase 3 dorm, which is going to be brand new dorm coming in 2024. We are very excited for that as well. And then we have our phase 4 dorm coming in 2025. So we are looking to expand. We are at about 1,700 students right now, but within the next, I'd say 5 years, we don't want to go over 2,500. We want to keep it a very small environment that is on purpose for the best learning experience of STEM, but we are looking to grow a little bit more. This is just a snapshot of our dorms. This is going to be the poolside area. We have grills, we have TVs, we have everything that you need to be in the Florida sunshine. And this is our dorm rooms are very open and very roomy, and they're new, they're brand new. And so if you're looking to come to Florida Poly within 2024, 2025, you could be the first people staying in our new dorms, which is always exciting as well. But we do have everything from sports teams to clubs to organizations. We really are a very well-rounded school. I know everyone thinks STEM and just focuses on just one thing, but we have everything from soccer and lacrosse and powerlifting and weightlifting, and many different students with many different passions and different clubs, organizations, things like that. But for those who are looking to apply to Florida Poly, if we have any seniors in the chat today, then I would definitely suggest to get your application in as soon as possible. I am going to be the admissions counselor for the area. So if you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. But for any juniors, please know that our applications open August 1st and our priority application deadline is November 1st. That is when our first application deadline would be. And this is going to be when we give out the most scholarships, the most, and most opportunities to get into Florida Poly, but we do still accept applications after that. And we do accept Common App, we accept SSAR, whichever is going to be best for you guys. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. This is my contact information. So if you guys have any other questions, please let me know, but I hope this was informative for all of you.
Savannah, thank you so much. This was extremely helpful. And again, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box for Savannah or the other institutions who are still logged in tonight. Up next, we have the University of Central Florida. So I'm going to pass it over to Cody to share his screen.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Cody Archer. As introduced, I am an assistant director for the undergraduate admissions for the University of Central Florida. Let me go ahead and share my screen here so I can hop right on into the presentation. So, maybe. There we go. Awesome. So we were founded in 1963. We have since been recognized as a top tier best value university. We are located in Orlando here, so we do have advantage of having Disney in our backyard, Universal, SeaWorld, Fun Spot, all of the big tourist attractions that make some of our majors more advantageous because we can kind of take advantage of, internshipping with Rosen College. You can go to Disney and different things like that. So we are also a public research institution. So we receive around $200 million a year for research funding. And we are also a Hispanic serving institution with right at around 30%, a little bit less of our population being Hispanic. We are also a very, very large university. We are currently the second largest in the country with around 70,000 students. Now, with that come a plethora of different degrees as well as sports. So sports and organizations, we are a Division I school. So all of our sports are on a Division I level. And then we have around 650, I believe closer to 675 clubs and organizations on campus. Everything from, social activist clubs, faith-based organizations, Greek life, extracurricular activities, all of the organizations for sports and all the different club sports that we offer. So we also have around an average class size of around 28. So that's really going to be more so in your later years once you get into more of your major specific classes. At a larger institution like ours, it wouldn't be uncommon in your first couple of years to have some larger lecture style halls with a couple hundred folks in them. That wouldn't be an uncommon thing. But once you really get into the meat of your major, so your junior and senior year, it's going to dwindle down to that 28-to-1 figure. So we operate on what's called rolling admission. So the most advantageous thing to take from this presentation is to apply early. So what I'm really talking about whenever I say apply early is going to be for our incoming freshmen, really around September to November of your senior year is when you want to get that in. I like to tell kids, as soon as the application opens, try and get in there and submit that application. But realistically, if you could do it by Halloween of your senior year, that would be the best time to apply. Because we operate on rolling admission, this is most advantageous for three main reasons. One, the smaller applicant pool, right? The earlier you apply to us, the smaller the applicant pool will be for the competitive nature of your application, as well as scholarship and housing options. So scholarships are on a first come, first served basis, as well as housing. So the earlier you get that application in to us will be your highest likelihood for receiving some of those scholarship funds, as well as securing some of that housing. So how can you apply to the university? You can use the Common App as previously stated, or you can use our institutional application on our website. We have no preference which one you use. My only request is that you use either or. So please do not submit an institutional as well as the Common application. With that, there will be a $30 application fee, as well as your Spark form. So your Spark form is your chance to tell us all of the classes that you have taken, will take and currently are taking at the high school level. And that's really how we're going to make an admissions decision for your particular situation. So those are very important to get into us. And just note that we are going to recalculate your GPA. So it is going to be a weighted GPA. So whatever you report to us, we will recalculate that, and it will only be your core classes. So it's not going to be any of your elective classes. So it might reflect a little bit differently than what you see on your high school transcript. It might be a little bit different because we are only doing the core classes. And then, of course, an SAT and or ACT, we only require one, but we do require one. So we are not a test optional school. You will have to submit either an SAT or an ACT to us. And then we're going to go ahead and super score it. So make sure you submit all of your attempts to us so we can take the highest competitive nature for your particular application. This right here are kind of sort of the academic credentials that we're looking for. So the first number I want to point out here is that 43,000. That's the amount of students that had applied for fall of 2022. So from that, we offered admission to right at around 15,000. And then from that, right at around 5,000 actually became UCF students. So whenever you're thinking in terms of the applicant, the competitive nature of your particular application, these are really the figures that I like to point students to. So we can see on the left, we have a mid-range of a 3.96 to a 4.46, SAT 1255 to 1375, and an ACT of 26 to 30. Now, those being the mid-ranges, that means that half of the students that we had enrolled for fall of 2022 fell right within those ranges. So 25% were just above those and 25% were below those, and they were still offered admission. So it's not an exact minimum that we're looking for, rather just to fit within these academic ranges that is best suited at the time for us. So Top 10 Nights program. If those figures were maybe a little bit daunting, I know the GPA might not quite be where you want it to be, or your ACT, SAT isn't quite, in those ranges that we're looking for. That's all right. We do have plenty of different avenues into the university. And the first one I'm going to talk about is our top 10 nights. So if you were a current high school graduate in the state of Florida and your school does a class ranking system and you were in the top 10% of that class ranking system, you are guaranteed admission into the university. There's a couple caveats. You have to have at least an 1100 SAT and a 22 ACT, as well as submit that application into us so we have it on file completed by January the 15th. So those are some pretty important dates that we have to meet, and there's not really a lot of leeway on them. So we do have to have that full completed application by January the 15th. So for our transfer students, the first distinction I like to make is what classifies a transfer student. So a transfer student is someone who has graduated high school and subsequently gone on and taken 12 credit hours. And those such students can take advantage of our Direct Connect program. So our Direct Connect program says that if you go to any of these 6 partner schools that we have down here at the bottom, and you have a competitive GPA, so I like to tell students around a 3.0, you are guaranteed admission to us upon completion of your AA degree. So if you go for 2 years to any of these state colleges and you receive your AA and you have that good academic standing, you are guaranteed admission into our university. So right at around half of our students actually come to us as transfers, and they take advantage of different programs such as this Direct Connect here. Scholarship opportunities. So for our incoming freshman scholarships, there's no separate application. We automatically consider you for this upon application to the university. So there's no legwork that needs to be done other than your application to us. And we're really going to be looking for 2 things. So the first thing that we're looking for is timing, right? If you apply after our deadline of November the 1st, there will be no consideration. So make sure you get that application in early to us. And then the second thing that we're really looking for are going to be your academic credentials. So we're talking strictly your GPA, SAT, ACT scores. So if we kind of sort of thought back on the other scores that we had, the mid-ranges and the class averages, really that top 25%, those are going to be the students who are going to be awarded this scholarship. And this scholarship ranges from $6,000 to $42,000, with the $42,000 really being more so for the out-of-state students to kind of sort of offset some of that tuition price. So for our transfer students, it is a little bit of a different situation. So there's a couple criteria that you really need to meet in order to qualify for these transfer scholarships. Firstly, you have to have already had an AA conferred from some Florida State University or college system, like a state college or university. And you also have to be enrolling in the fall semester. So if those two are applicable to you, please, you can find our transfer scholarships online on our website. You can apply for them and go accordingly through there. And then, of course, some other forms of aid that we accept. The Florida Bright Futures, we can absolutely accept. The Florida Prepaid College Plan. So if you locked in a great rate in the 90s, we can absolutely respect that, as well as A2O. So we do have our own internal scholarship system. So once you become a full-time student, you are eligible to apply for different scholarships for only admitted students. So that would be beneficial. You know, if you're not awarded any merit-based, you might qualify for some of our internal scholarships here. Oh, what am I at here? Awesome. So this right here is really a synopsis of everything that I've talked about here, guys. So for our FTIC timeline, our first time in college students, really around September to December, you're going to submit that application and all of the fees to us. You're going to take and retake a second, a third, a fourth time if you need to, the SAT and ACT until you're happy with your score, right? And then make sure you submit all of those attempts to us so that we can add that to the competitive nature of your application. On the screen here, we do have a priority deadline of December the 1st for the FAFSA. However, if you don't get it into us by that time, that is all right. We still can accept it, but please make sure that you get that into us promptly after December the 1st. And then around May, once you've been offered admission, you're going to submit a $200 enrollment deposit. So that's really going to be your way of telling us that you are coming to the university. You know, you've been offered an invitation for admission, and this is your way of letting us know that this is the university that you are going to come to. Around March and August, you're going to register for and attend some orientations. And then June to August, you're going to submit those final transcripts to us. We're going to make sure everyone was academically honest on your Spark form. And then from there, you will become a UCF Knight. So our transfer timeline looks a little bit different. So really about a year out, you're going to want to get with a transfer success coach. Now, at all of our partner schools, so Seminole State, Valencia College, they should have an office for Direct Connect. I would highly advise you go speak directly with one of the ambassadors, because they will be able to kind of point you, depending on the education that you're looking to get at UCF and the education that you already have at your current institution, there may or may not be requisites that you may or may not have. And that can be very confusing. So that's exactly why we created the Transfer Success Coach position, to help students who have issues with, you know, trying to figure out what the criteria are or the requisites to get into a certain program. So I highly encourage that you speak with one of them to make sure that you're on the correct track for your education. And then around 6 months out, that's whenever you're going to submit that application to us. So you're going to submit that application and all of the fees that we require at that time, as well as research your housing options. So we do give preference for our housing to our incoming freshman class. However, we absolutely do have housing around campus. We partner with a couple of the housing complexes, some of the apartment complexes around the area, down University and down Colonial. So those are partners with us, and those are really more so for the upperclassmen. However, we do have around 12,000 beds on campus as well. So if you'd like to live on campus as a transfer student, as an upper division, that's completely fine as well. And then after admission, you're going to register for and attend some orientations. And then after that, you're going to submit your residency and all of the other forms that we require from you. And then you become a UCF transfer student. So that was pretty much my whole presentation that I had for you guys. Here is all of our contact information. Please feel free to reach out on our emails, shoot us give us a call, kind of reach out in any way possible. We also do accept walk-ins. So at the Duke Energy Welcome Center there, my home-based building, you can feel free to come in the back. You will see a kiosk. You can sign in with the kiosk. An admissions counselor like myself will get to you promptly to resolve any of the issues you might have if your future night portal isn't opening, or you're having any kind of issues with a checklist, or you want to turn in a transcript. That would be the place that you would go for that. But as I said, that is the end of my presentation. So I will stick around a little while and answer some questions, I believe, in the chat. And yeah, thank you all for so much for having us out and hosting this. Big shout out to Scholar Trek for this. We always appreciate being involved with your guys' programs.
Thanks, Cody. Well, we appreciate you. And you do have quite a bit of questions in the
I
chat
know,
box.
I
So you might
see
have to
them.
scroll quite a bit up,
I know.
but I know you're awesome. So you'll get to as many as you can this evening. Next up, we have Florida Gulf Coast University. So I'm going to pass the mic and the screen over to you all. I can see that you are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. So let me know if you need any technical assistance.
Are you able to hear me now?
We can hear you perfectly.
Perfect. I had some technical difficulties. I do apologize. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen here. Okay. All right. Is everyone able to see my screen?
We can see it. You are good to go.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm so sorry. So hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Colon, and I am an undergraduate freshman admissions counselor here at FTCU. Currently, we have close to 16,000 students currently enrolled, and we are a small to medium-sized university. Our classes do hold about 33 students in each class, and we do have a 22-to-1 student to professor ratio. That just means that basically by the time you're done with your class, that professor is going to know who you are, what you're capable of, so that way you can be comfortable enough to ask them for, be that reference or letter of recommendation. That has helped contributed with us being the top 2 job placement here in Florida after our students have graduated. And we also do hold 15 Division I athletic teams. Pictured here is a few of our programs that we do offer here at FTCU. The big one there is basically the Viper Room where they're doing a simulation. And on the left top is where they doing in the nursing emergency mock room that we do have. And because our classes are smaller, we like to do a lot of hands-on experience and things like that. And this is basically just an overview of what some of the things that we do in our programs. And of course, nursing is one of the most popular ones as well. And then on the 2 bottom left, you see they're doing a lot more researches as well. And then in the middle there, that golf management program, they actually are able to do different simulations and different golf courses across the country. And then on the bottom right is the ticker room, just like what people see on Wall Street. Students actually get real money to be able to learn how to buy, sell, and trade stocks. Pictured here is our South Village. This is our freshman housing, is also known as SOVI. Students have the 2 and 3 bedroom options. And as you can tell on the floor plans, the students don't share a room with their roommates. They actually get a key to the main entry and then a key to their own room. The only thing they share are the restrooms and living area. And then the buildings themselves are co-ed, but the rooms are same gender. Pictured here is a list of our programs, and the talk of the town right now is our water school. We have that is the newest building on campus, and they're housing the marine science and environmental studies, that program in there. And then also the Bachelor's of Entrepreneurship is another program that we have that the students really like that program, because once you're in that program, the students can learn, like if they're trying to learn the entrepreneurship and trying to be like their own boss and come up with a good business plan, at the end of that program, the student comes up with a good business plan, and the entrepreneurship program helps the student kick off that their business. And so some of the programs on here do have asterisks. They do require a second application. And like the nursing program, for example, if you decide to apply for the nursing program, and you get accepted, these students basically, once they get accepted, they're accepted into the pre-nursing, work on the prereqs for the first 2 years, and then apply for the nursing program once they're done with the prereqs. This is basically an overview of our campus. Doing that green area, the circle there, that's where we like to have a lot of our events and things like that. Up along the buildings that are more closer together on the top right, that's what our academic core is at. That's where most of the classes are offered for our students. And on the left-hand side of that picture, that is the library. In that library, students can go and inquire about free tutoring, rentals of laptop, and if you need assistance with your research paper, why not talk to a librarian and see how far they can help you. And then in that area too, there's also a Starbucks located on campus. So we have a Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Dunkin', Einstein Bagel, all you can eat Sylvie Dining on campus. So we have quite a few places our students can go to and basically have a meal or just grab something and go quick to class or to and from where they're going. So early, we have our application periods. There are 2 application periods. August 1st of our student's senior year is when the application is opened up, and students can apply from August 1st to November 1st to be considered that early action. So that way they can be informed mid-December, early January, or and they'll also get priority consideration for certain scholarships, which I will touch on in a few as well. And then after that, regular decision will be from November 2nd to March 1st is when they'll be considered regular decision. And once they're in that regular decision, they'll be informed more on a rolling basis after that. There are 2 ways to apply: the Common App or through our FGCU website. We don't have a preference. We just ask if you start in the Common App, finish in the Common App, and if you start in the FGCU website, finish in the FGCU website. That way it don't cause any duplication or any delays in making decisions. The bottom averages have been what we've accepted students in the past. That's just to, if you want a strong application, we tell students to shoot for that. If you're trying to make that application competitive. But we have accepted students with a little bit lower GPA and a little bit lower test scores. We just, if you apply by November 1st, we can help the student, once they apply, be able to help them make that application stronger, either by we needing higher GPA or higher test scores and things like that. On this slide here for tuition and fees, that Florida resident $6,118 is off of 30 credits. If you basically completed 30 credits or take 30 credits or 15 credits in the fall, 15 credits in the spring, and totaling 30 credits overall, it'll come up to $6,118. Now for my non-Florida residents, I'm sure you guys are mainly more Florida residents, I'm assuming, but that's the same criteria for the non-Florida residents. Housing and meal plans is not mandatory, but we do highly encourage it. And those are for the same criteria, those 2 semesters, those are the averages. Typically is about $17,000 or $18,000 per year for the student to come to FGCU for tuition, housing, and meal plans. On the bottom there, where the merit scholarships are at, those are the scholarships I was referring to. If you apply before November 1st, you also have to have certain GPA and certain test scores to be able to be eligible for those scholarships. But just to give you an overview, the President's Gold and Silver are for my Florida residents, and they can be awarded $3,000 or $5,000 per year up to 4 years. You do have to remain in good academic standing each of those years in order to continue receiving that scholarship. But as long as you're in good academic standing each year, you'll get that up to 4 years. Our scholarships are stackable. So if you come in with Bright Futures, Florida P-Paid, or any other outside scholarships, we put those scholarships together. And of course, we will cover tuition and fees first. And then if the student decides, we will help them, that will help cover the housing and meal plans as well. That pretty much sums it up. Is there any questions?
If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. Thank you so much for joining us. We know this is a crazy time of year. But again, guys, if you have questions, this is definitely the right time to ask, as these admission officers are super busy. So they have other things going on that they need to get to outside of this presentation. But thank you again. And next up is going to be, last but not least, the University of South Florida. If you want to go ahead and share your screen.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. So my name is Kason Watson. I'm one of the admissions counselors at the University of South Florida. I actually cover the South Pinellas County region, and I am also a Pinellas County resident. So I'm going to go over a little bit about USF, the application process and system. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it in the chat, and I will stick around a little bit to answer those questions for you. So a little bit about USF. We're founded in 1956. For those that don't know, our mascot of the Bulls. We have a 21-to-1 student to faculty ratio. 33 is our average class size. I think that recently went through a process called reconsolidation. Went from being 3 separately accredited institutions to go to 1 accreditation. So that means that you have the option to benefit from the different campus experiences that USF have to offer, right? So we have our large campus, which is USF Tampa. Everyone's kind of more familiar with USF Tampa campus. Most of our majors and concentrations are at that campus, but you also have the option to have smaller class sizes, smaller campus experiences over at St. Pete or Sarasota Manatee. I'm actually housed at the St. Petersburg campus, and I graduated from the St. Petersburg campus. And being from Pinellas County, USF St. Pete is actually the only 4-year public institution in Pinellas County. So that's something to keep in mind, but you have the option if you're a Tampa student, you want to take some classes or go to a football game or something like that at USF Sarasota Manatee or St. Pete, you have the option to have all of those experiences. So you can have the large campus experience, or you can have the smaller, more community-based campus experience, which I think is a benefit and a strength of the USF system. So we have 700 plus student organizations, fraternities, sororities, international clubs, organizations, NCAA Division I sports, baseball, basketball, cross country, women's sports as well, basketball, cross country, things like that. So we have everything that you'd want to experience in a college experience. So if you have the opportunity, I'd encourage you to go on a campus tour, go on a visit. I think that the biggest factor about whether or not you're going to be successful at an institution is whether or not you feel like you belong in that institution. That's why we highly encourage students to do campus tour, campus visits, and kind of just see what feels like fits for you at that particular institution. So we currently do have housing on both the St. Pete and the Tampa campus. We are currently building housing on Sarasota Manatee. We don't currently have housing on that campus, but that should be open for students that are applying to USF next year. These are some of the options that we have available for housing on both St. Pete and the Tampa campuses. So this is probably the section where I'm going to spend most of my time, the application process. What do you need to be admitted to USF, right? So we are a merit-based evaluation system. What that means is that we only have a couple different things when you apply to USF. So what we do is we have the application. Obviously, you can use the application on our website, or we have the Common Application. If you're interested in multiple institutions, I kind of encourage you to do the Common App so you can apply for multiple schools at the same time. We do not have essays or letter or recommendation or academic resumes. We are strictly a merit-based evaluation system. So when you submit an application to us, once again, we have the application, obviously, then we have the application fee. And then we have the SSAR, which is basically a self-reported transcript that is new for us this year. So for any student that is currently applying to USF, you would be familiar with the SSAR. Moving forward, that is the preferred method for submitting your application to USF. And then we have the SAT or ACT. So we don't have a preference between one or the other. I encourage students that if you're interested in USF, you should have at least an SAT or ACT done by the end of your junior year. So you have applications or the score to submit by the fall of your senior year. And I encourage students to take the SAT or ACT at least twice. So we have the application fee, test scores, and high school transcript. So the application for us opens August 1st. And I always encourage students that you're interested in USF. Most of us, USF, UCF, like all other schools, have fairly similar deadlines. And so if you're interested in multiple Florida schools, I would encourage you to apply for all those schools around the same time. Because as we get closer and closer to the start of the term, it gets more and more competitive. So let's say that a student with a certain GPA and test score applies in November, they have a better chance of being admitted than that same student applying in March. So I encourage students to apply if you're interested in USF as early as possible. Our application opens in August and our priority deadline is November 1st. So a way that we calculate the GPA, right? So you send us your SSAR or you link the SSAR and we get all that information. What we're going to do is we're going to look at your core academic courses. And there's 18 years to graduate from high school in the state of Florida. So we're using those core academic courses: math, English, social sciences, natural sciences, foreign language, academic electives. And so we're going to recalculate the GPA based on those core academic courses. Let's say that you're using, for example, you take a weight training class. You're probably going to be in way better shape than I am, but we're not using that course as far as the calculation because we're using the academic courses. We're trying to see how you're going to do academically. So honors courses are an extra half point of weight. AP, IB, dual enrollment, and ACE Cambridge are a full point of weight. So when students ask whether or not we're going to do a weighted GPA or unweighted GPA, it's actually a recalculated GPA is the best way that I can describe it to students. So when you're looking at USF, keep that in mind. We're going to send us a transcript, recalculating the GPA, and we're weighting it based on those those items I just mentioned. Our test scores are super scores. So if you take the SAT or ACT multiple times, we're going to give you the highest score from each section. So generally, I had to take the SAT like 3 times when I graduated high school. So when you're taking the SAT, if you're doing really well in one section, I would encourage you, if you have another opportunity to take it, concentrate on another section so you can kind of maximize your score or get the best bang for your buck, if you will. So the average, which is middle 50% of students that were admitted to USF for the fall 2022 was 4.0 to a 4.5, 1230 to a 1390, and a 27 to a 31. Keep in mind that is a middle 50%. So 1/4 of our students are admitted above that point, and 1/4 of our students are admitted below. When you apply to USF, we're going to review for every term. So let's say that you apply for the fall and you're not meeting fall requirements, we're automatically going to review for the summer. If you're not meeting summer requirements, we're automatically going to review for the spring. So there's a possibility that if you apply to USF for the fall, you could be admitted to the summer or spring term. So keep that in mind. You don't have to send in a new application for the summer or anything like that. We review for every term at the same time. So that's a possibility. These are some of our admission scholarships. These are not scholarships that you'd have to apply for separately. These are scholarships that we're offering based on your credentials. So as soon as you, when you submit the application, as long as the documents are submitted before January 15th, which is our scholarship deadline, you will automatically be reviewed for one of our admission scholarships. And make sure that you need to be meeting the qualified GPA as well as qualifying SAT or ACT score. You have to do both, one of the tests, and we would offer you one of the admission scholarships as long as the application is completed before the January 15th deadline. These are some of scholarships for admission, and these are some scholarships that are stackable, so keep that in mind as well. If you are interested in any of our accelerated programs, be that our medical programs or we have a 3+3 law program, they are only available for students who are in our honors college. So if you're interested in medical school and you're interested in our honors program, I think that'd be a good idea to make sure that you submit an application after you submit the USF application. The honors college does have a separate application as well as an essay component for the honors college. Once again, we don't have an essay for admission, but there is a scholarship for, or apologize, there is a essay for the honors college. So for the students that are interested in transferring, we only consider you a transfer student if you have 12 or more transferable credits after you graduate high school or after your graduation date. So if you're interested in transferring, like going to one of our local SBCH, CCM, or local community colleges or state colleges and transferring afterwards, the transfer process is pretty straightforward, but it really does depend in some cases on your selected major. So for example, if you're looking at business, there are some prerequisite courses that you need to complete. So if you're interested in the transfer process, I would encourage you to check out our transfer page and look through the majors because there's some requirements that could be different. You might not necessarily be denied admission if you're a transfer student, but you could be asked to change your major or consider another major depending on what the requirements are for that limited access major. We have 200 plus programs at USF, so there's some majors that are going to have some additional requirements, and I would encourage you to check out our transfer page. It's just USF transfer requirements, and it should take you right where you need to go. And these are some of our transfer scholarships for those students that are planning to attend one of our state colleges or community colleges, getting their AA degree and then transferring to USF later. So this is our tuition rate. You'll notice the tuition is slightly considerably different between in-state and out-of-state. So when you're for my Pinellas County students, if you're sending me the application, make sure that you're putting in the correct information or checking your residency status just to make sure that everything goes smoothly and the process can be facilitated for you. But we have, I think, second or third lowest tuition in the state. Keep that in mind when you're looking at different organizations, institutions, what their tuition rate is, as well as their options for aid. So if you are interested in USF, I encourage you to take a tour, reach out to the admissions office. But there's quite a bit of information that we have to offer you. And I think that, once again, like I said before, if you're interested in a college or university, the best thing to do is to start doing some research, start exploring. Campus tours are a really big deal, going and visiting and just see what is going to be a good fit for you as a student, as well as what you're kind of looking for as you explore through that college process. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to throw it in the chat for me, and I will be glad to answer any questions you might have. If you have anything that comes up later on, you can always reach out to our admissions office, admissions@usf.edu. That will transfer your email to your admissions counselor. So if anyone's in South Pinellas County, it would go to me. North Pinellas County would be Kiliana Lugo. So if you have any information that you think about afterwards, you can feel free to reach out to admissions@usf.edu, and we will be glad to answer any questions you might have. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. You do have several questions in the chat box, and if it's easier for you, since you are our last wonderful presenter for the evening, feel free to, if you want to review those and answer out loud, so you don't have to spend the time typing. For families and students that, you made it through a marathon of almost 3 hours. Do not feel like you're being rude. You're more than welcome to log off. But if you have any questions for any of these representatives or our organization, and we can help in any way through your college search and application process, we'll make sure that you have our contact information in the follow-up email from this session tomorrow, along with upcoming virtual sessions on financial aid and scholarships, BSMD programs, and more. I saw a BSMD note in there, so that might be a good fit for one of our families who's attending. But otherwise, thank you all for joining, and I will pass it on back to you to answer these questions.
See if we can go back to chat. I think it might be easier if I pop back on. So, is summer averages? Lower than fall. Yes, summer is less competitive. We get less applications during the summer, so it does happen to be easier, I would say, for the students to be admitted for the summer than the fall, but we do review for every term. Be sure email address. I will throw my email address in the chat for everyone. My direct email. So if you're applying to USF, you're applying to the USF system. So there's no difference in the admission requirements for all of our campuses. So you're admitted to USF, you are a USF student, and you are admitted to all of the campuses essentially. The only difference I would say is that certain campuses have different majors on them. So for example, engineering is only hosted on the Tampa campus. So if you are interested in engineering, you can still attend another campus, but it might not make sense for you because all your major classes are going to be available on Tampa. So that is something to consider. But like, for example, business is on all 3 campuses, so you can attend business courses on any campus you want. The Honors College scholarships are similar to our regular scholarships. In the case that when you apply to the Honors College, you're evaluated for the scholarship at that point. So there is a section on the Honors College application for if you're interested in the Honors College scholarship. Tampa does, all of our campuses offer separate open houses. So I think we just recently went through St. Pete's open house. I think Tampa, yeah, we all 3 of us have separate open houses. So and that's something you're interested in, if you'd reach out, I will give you the direct contact for the orientation office at Tampa who puts on the open house. So the only time, how does admission works to other campuses if you don't get into the main campus? The only time that would be necessarily an issue is for space-wise. So I always encourage students to apply early because then that's not generally an issue. If you apply after the deadline, then there is a possibility that you could be offered admission to another campus. And in that case, you would only have to be there for 1 to 2 semesters. So you can transfer to the Tampa campus after that initial first semester or that initial first and second semester. No problem. Do the fall and summer programs apply for the BS? Yeah, so the BS to MD program is an accelerated program through the Honors College. If you are applying to either the summer or the fall, you can still apply to the Honors College and participate in those programs. So it's not necessarily restricted by term, it is restricted by whether or not you are accepted to the Honors College. When a student applies to USF, they do indicate the campus. Should a students fill out the FAFSA if they know they're not? Yes, I always encourage students to fill out the FAFSA regardless of whether or not they believe they're eligible for Pell Grants or anything like that, because there are scholarships that do require the FAFSA to be on file. So even if it's not just Pell, there are some scholarships that do require FAFSA on file, as well as there are some benefits to having a FAFSA on file, specifically for the tuition due date. You can get a deferral, things like that, but only if you have a FAFSA on file are those options available. How long does our admissions decisions are taking this up? So admissions decisions generally, so we start, our application opens in August, we start sending out decisions around November, and that depends on how, when the application was completed and like whether or not we have everything that we need. So for example, if a student submits an application in November, but we don't get the test scores until, February or March, then we can't start reviewing that student. So it really just depends. And also if a student is, it's really easy to tell if a student is admissible based on our averages. So if a student is close to the averages, usually a decision, it's easy to decision students that are definitely admitted or students that are definitely denied. The students that are in the middle have a tendency to take a little bit longer for us to decision, mainly because they're kind of on the edge and we need to see whether or not they send updated scores or things like that. Those are usually the ones that take a little bit longer. But we also have seen a significant increase in applications last 2 years, I would say. So even though we have started reviewing earlier, it is still taking us a little bit longer to send out admissions decisions, mainly because of the volume. But if students submit an application before November 1st, usually they should start receiving decisions in November around Thanksgiving time.
Well, I think you got through the marathon of questions there. That was impressive. It looks like we might have one more question that just came through, and then we are gonna let these college representatives go and enjoy the rest of their evening.
So they are going to start opening up because the schedules are based on, because students do the campus tours for us for USF. Students do the campus tours, so the schedules usually can't be done super far in advance because we have to see what the students' schedules are like. But they do update them fairly regular. I think it's going to be a couple of weeks before we do the summer schedule, mainly for Tampa. I think the summer schedule for St. Pete and Sarasota should already be up. So if you go to the website and go to the campus tour section, those schedules should already be up. If not, if you can shoot me over an email, I can check for you and get back with more definitive information from the campus tour offices on each campus.
Perfect. And it's nice to hear that you guys are thinking about visiting these campuses. That is the best thing that you can do, is to just step foot and do a college campus tour. So with that, thank you all so much for joining this evening. If you have any questions, please reach out to these college admission representatives or to the Scholar Trek team or to any of your school counselors within Pinellas County. We hope you have a wonderful evening and good luck through the college search and application process.